What's going on? Good morning. Just a hair before 6 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans are in the market for another running back, and they're considering a familiar face to fill their void. The Titans hosted running back Jonathan Ward for a workout yesterday. Ward appeared in 3 games for the Titans last year, playing mostly on special teams. He had a good shot to be the Titans' number 3 running back out of training camp, but suffered a knee injury in preseason week 1 that led to him being waived with an injury designation and then reverting to injured reserve. Ward went on to reach an injury settlement that allowed him to play in 2023, and now he's looking at a spot on the Titans practice squad. Houston Texans left guard Kendrick Green suffered a torn meniscus in his right knee against the Pittsburgh Steelers and expected to be out indefinitely. The Texans traded a 2025 6th-round pick to the Steelers for Green after their first-round pick, Kenyon Green, suffered a season-ending shoulder injury in the final preseason game against the New Orleans Saints. Kendrick Green started 3 games for the Texans after there were injuries to the left side of the starting unit. Texans just cannot keep their Green on the field. And some scores from the major leagues last night. In the AL wild card, Rangers blanked the Rays 4-0. Twins beat the Blue Jays 3-1. And in the NL, Diamondbacks took down the Brewers 6-3, while the Phillies filled the Marlins 4-1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to your Wednesday on RKW, brewed by 8th and Rose, right here on 104.5 The Zone. And Wednesdays in the fall means we move on from whatever the previous football weekend brought you, and we look ahead and begin our preview of the upcoming football weekend. Yes, it is another Scout Meeting Wednesday right here on the show with the one and only Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. My name is Will Bowling. It is Wednesday, October the 4th. Welcome to the second of the 48 hours without football.
Yeah.
Every single week. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, man. How are us today? It's hump day.
It is hump day.
Sure
Yes, it
is.
Wednesday.
Let's get to it, man. The new week reset is what Wednesdays are during the season.
Right?
That's fair to say. Got a familiar foe this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing what this game look like because both teams got a lot. Well, the whole AFC South. Did we even mention that? 2-2.
We did mention that yesterday,
wild.
Yes. And by the way, somebody else had a 2-for-2 yesterday. Bert.
Yeah.
How did the recap go,
Robert
man?
Walsh is possibly going to be taken out by federal authorities in any moment.
I've been trying to keep it under wraps, but
Trying to lay low.
yeah, somebody was ringing my doorbell last night. You know, I think they're just trying to keep me up, keep me on edge, discredit me at every corner. But Big Burger will not silence me.
Big Burger. Well, that's because they don't sell big burgers, Bert. That's the problem.
They got busted by Bert's Burger Busters.
Right? There we go. That's great. You can make some money doing that.
If you missed it yesterday, Bert's You're Not That Guy was cookout for making their single cheeseburger as thick with 2 Qs as the double cheeseburger. And so a picture has been posted.
Yep.
You can find this at Ramon Kayla Will, also at Robbie_Walsh, because we should get Robert's numbers up in that category as well. And the results are conclusive that Robert's You're Not That Guy was correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, my one of my good friends reached out to me and said the one aspect that you are not taking into consideration is the extra piece of cheese you get with the double cheeseburger. So the meat quantity is the same, but you are getting an extra piece of cheese with the double cheese. So something that I overlooked, but was not my mission. Nonetheless, the meat quantity should be more in the double. But I digress. I'm not going to get caught in the weeds. Cheyenne almost divorced me yesterday for talking about this. She was like, "We don't care about your burgers. We don't care about your takes."
Yeah, we do.
She almost silenced me to the garage. It was rough.
Was she listening?
She was just like, "Oh, you think you're special now because you get a little social media clout? You get a couple favorites and." She got tired of hearing about it. She was like, "Stop taking cross-section cuts of burgers, please."
So we have to lower our burger and cheese and meat ratio because people want to come at you, Bert? Is that what you're saying? Like, or like is lies in what they're offering? Like double cheeseburger actually means the cheese and not the meat? Because if so, we're owed a whole lot. I hate to be a part of a class action lawsuit is all I'm saying.
That's true. And while Cheyenne's still asleep, I would like the world to know that she thought the Marines' credo was simplify.
Oh, God.
Wait, what?
Oh, no.
Let me go ahead and get her. Let me go ahead and get her before she wakes up.
Oh, my God.
You know the good Marines, they're always out there trying to simplify.
When was that discussed?
No, just yesterday. It just came up between us.
She's trying to control the burger ratios and she can't. She's out here for getting simplified.
We'll worry about what's going on in your neck of the woods, lady.
Okay, I'll roll her.
Hey, Bert,
Yeah,
you know
right.
what we say? America.
Wow. Simplify. Okay.
That was good. I can't lie. That was good.
See,
right
the thing
there.
about this complaint is that's not even something I ever would have considered to be a thing. Like, I mean, I believed you. But I was shocked at how right you were, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just offends me because I have been a patron for a long time and I always was under the assumption that, yes, the double cheeseburger is always superior, but not a cookout.
We're paying for extra cheese.
Yeah, go to our Twitter and just check it out for yourself if you haven't already. You can get your own idea of what you think, but yeah, I think it's a ripoff.
This is journalism at its finest.
Yeah, I'm going to start introducing you as the capital J journalist.
Oh, gosh.
Don't let me take that credit. I'll be held to a higher standard.
I do wonder if word got back to them. If they change it, Bert, man, we're running for mayor of Davidson County next.
I'm telling you, Bert's Burger Busters is on the loose. Do not try to pull the wool over the consumer's eyes.
Wendy's, you're next.
You can't touch Wendy's, okay? Wendy's is the one I feel like's been fair, and that's because I have it every so often, like once every blue moon, too, because
Right.
it's on the other side of town. And apparently they do live by the creed of no frozen meats, okay? So, hey.
That's impressive.
Hey, they give you a burger full of meat and bacon.
Mm-hmm.
You know who else has the meat?
Who?
The Colts up front on the defensive line.
Why are you taking my job? You're trying to take Kayla's job as the Big J
Why do
journalist.
y'all feel
Now you're
pressure?
trying to do the awkward transitions back to sports.
Hey, never comply, okay? Why are we submitting
Unbelievable.
ourselves to what you think our bosses want, Bert? They're not up either right now, man. Come
Just
on.
us.
Yeah, it's just us. What are we doing here, man? We could really lose this show in the 6:15 segment.
Let's not find out.
No.
No, I don't see any scenario.
If they throw us back to Fox, just know what happened.
Exactly. Well, it's not like they're much
Well,
better.
man, that would only happen if they're in on Big Burger. I feel like the journalistic integrity that you are bringing to the radio show, it's important.
It is.
It's good for the people.
Just trying to do my part.
Investigative reporting.
That's exactly what we got going on. I'm willing to test and see if we can lose this show.
Yeah, I saw Phil Williams at Channel 5 had his big anniversary at Channel 5 the other day. The investigative reporter, legendary reporter.
Big time.
I don't know. Robert might be coming for him.
Maybe he's on the way out.
Is there a job opening? Huh.
You can
Dude,
make it
I'm
open.
telling you, I'm about to be the busiest man in Nashville. I'm about to be driving the Zamboni for the Preds. I'm about to have Bert's Burger Busters on the news.
What else do we
We
have?
just got to make a jingle,
The most important part of my day. What else do I have? This right here with you
a
guys.
theme song.
And then, of course, you also are becoming a woo girl. That's next for you because you did the pedal tapper.
That's true.
That honestly would be like a good YouTube series for on 104.5 The Zone TV is Bert's Burgers.
Yeah,
just have you go around and rate the best burgers on a scale of
That'd
1
be
to 10
cool.
around Nashville.
You are speaking to my soul.
That'd be really
right
cool.
now,
I'll
Will.
drive you around for that.
Yeah.
In the spring.
Take the spreader.
Straight up.
Burger on the
There
spreader.
we go.
Oh, no, I ain't lying. Hey, I
We
swear.
might have just did something there.
Hey, man, we'll come out with a fog machine in the back.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I like that.
Can we do that?
Yeah, and then we could do, instead of Bob's Burgers, we can turn it into a cartoon series even, and we can sketch everybody as cartoons.
I don't know how
Bert's Burgers.
I don't know how we're going to do that.
I don't know, but
Sell it.
there's some talented people in Nashville. Hook us up.
We don't even need a network. Heck, we can just use YouTube at this point.
True.
We already got the 104.
Let's not get carried away here.
Well, I mean, we can animate Bert and myself and you and Caleb
can?
real fast.
This is quickly turning into those 3 a.m. talks with your buddies
Yes,
who
right.
are like, let's start a tree cutting company. We just need to start a business.
We should own a bar.
yeah, right.
By the
I've
way,
had that
We could really do this, man.
by the way, if we do get turned into cartoons, can we have chins unlike Bob's Burgers?
I'll take
There's
a
no
chance.
That is
chins
a
on
random
that.
I
request.
only want 3 fingers, though.
One thing I want, my one request, we gotta have chins.
I want 3 fingers, though. That's all I want.
I'm down with that. I like the odd numbered. That's how you knew it was Looney Tunes or whatever, and not real. That's how I stopped being scared of Bugs Bunny.
And I love to talk with a stutter like Porky Pig.
Well, the Indianapolis Colts are going to need as many chins as they can get to be big enough to block the Titans' defensive line coming up this weekend. We'll scout them at 7:20 this morning.
What?
It's Scout Meeting Wednesday.
I mean, we just led with a great scouting report from Bert. That was
Former
good.
Titans wide receiver Nate Washington will join us at 8:20. He's been in Nashville long enough. Maybe we can ask him what his favorite burger in Nashville is.
Sabaros.
That's not you can't do the joke on a pizza place. You do the
I
joke.
love that place.
You do the
That's
joke
cool.
on and say like McDonald's, and you walk up to a McDonald's and say, "Oh, this is my favorite Nashville burger joint." I award you 0 points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Rhett Bryan will come on at 9:00. He'll have better jokes than that one.
I was hoping we fell for that one. That
No.
wasn't good.
No. We gotta
Oh.
have higher standards here.
And by the way, I go home yesterday. It was like, Dad, my youngest is on spring break. How'd you get
Spring break
I mean,
in
fall
October.
break. God, dog it. Why I keep calling it spring break?
Demerit.
Demerit. That is demerit. I've said it way too many times now, man. It's almost intentional right now.
Demerit.
But he was like, Dad, how'd you get got by the who joke? Come on, Dad. I'm like, Miles,
Dang.
mind your damn business, okay?
I brought you into this world. I can take you out.
Buck got popped by that too yesterday.
Yeah, Buck really got popped by it, man.
That was great.
Did you release the explicit version of it, Bert?
I did not. I cut off the explicit from
Smart.
the end.
Yeah.
We're a family-friendly show.
I think you do. Maybe that's just Instagram. You do get downgraded in the algorithm if you have cuss words.
Wow.
Do you?
Because
Really?
I'm just guessing because there are a lot of podcasts and digital shows that are not clean, but every time they post Instagram reels, they always bleep out everything. And then even in the captions of the closed captioning, they won't have like it spelled out either. I don't know. Just
Wow.
Did not know that. So we can't just tell people earmuffs and just say we want to at that point?
probably not. I mean, you could. You just nobody watched the video.
Nobody watched the video. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. I'll leave it alone then.
615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. A little bit of a slow news day yesterday. But again, it's kind of crazy, guys. We talked about Major League Baseball playoffs starting yesterday. It was kind of funny. ESPN, they counted, I think, on all of Get Up yesterday, how much they talked about the baseball games that were yesterday, which are all on the ESPN family of networks, I might add. They had 2 30-second ads, and that was it.
That's it? Yeah. Oh,
So I've got a little bit of that coming up, and some of the results yesterday that were fun. But come Saturday, it's going to be a really good time for a lot of us to have a bye week for the Vols
yeah.
when the Braves are probably hosting the Phillies for Braves-Phillies round 2. A little bit of rematch.
Really good game last night, too. I watched
Yeah, it was
that
fun.
one. Phillies crowd. Man, they know how to do sports right.
They call
Yeah.
it Red October.
Well, they know how to do it right. I got to give it to them. As toxic as they are, their fan base knows how to show up.
But coming up next, we'll talk some college football at the halfway point of the season. Good piece from Bill Connolly on each undefeated team's biggest weakness. Who's impressed you? Who has failed to impress you the most? Good time in Tennessee's bye week to take stock of all of college football as, believe it or not, we are nearing the halfway point of the college football season.
Wow.
Which does not feel real to me, but it is happening. We'll dive into that. Some of the games coming up this weekend. Coming up next, it's RKW Brewed by 8th and Roast. 4 hours, and it's going to go by fast starting right now.
Have you heard about lab-grown diamonds? Well, here's a word of advice. Don't buy a lab-grown diamond until you talk to my friends at Genesis Diamonds. Genesis will reveal the secrets behind this new product and make sure you are protected if you do decide to buy one. Genesis non-commissioned experts will teach you the difference between a natural diamond and a lab-grown diamond so you can make the smartest, most informed decision. One important fact you will learn is how some jewelers are grossly overcharging for lab-grown stones. There are some insane markups going on, and you need to be aware of them, okay? For example, at some stores, they're selling 4-carat round lab-grown diamond stud earrings for around $9,000. But at Genesis, you can get them for about half that price with better quality diamonds, and yes, I said half, okay? The bottom line is you need to be informed, and you need to get a second opinion, and you also need to be careful. And that's what Genesis promises. They are transparent and will teach you all you need to know to make a smart buy, just like they always have. Genesis Diamonds, your trusted advisor when it comes to the complex world of diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs and the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Streaming live as well on 104.5 The Zone TV. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at 104.5 The Zone, where you can find us there. If you miss any of the show at any point, you can download us on your favorite podcast feed as well. Ramon, Kayla, Will right there every hour of every show, including hour one today, as we talk some college football, guys. And at the beginning of October, everyone in conference play, we really are almost at the halfway point of the college football season. Mm-hmm. Who's been better than you expected? Who has been worse than you expected? We can start with the positives. Who's been better than you thought they would be this year in college football?
Better than I thought they would be this year? Probably Oregon.
Okay.
I didn't think they were going to be able to light it up like this. Bo Nix, with his track record that he had, of course, them losing players in the portal, new coach. I mean, a lot stacked up against them, and essentially from what we expect from Oregon. They've lit it on fire. Definitely did not think Bo Nix was capable of this. And what's so beautiful about what they've done, like they instantly hit him with a Heisman campaign. Mm-hmm. Like, they instantly hit him with one. I don't know what they saw on his visit or what he did over the summer, but goodness gracious, he had one. What is it, Bodacious? Whatever he got going on right now in the Pacific Northwest?
Sure.
It's earning him a lot of money, I'll tell you that much.
Did not see that coming around for a team that has been somewhat relevant.
For me, I mean, honestly, the whole Pac-12 surprised me because I did not understand, I guess, the significance of each team really having a quarterback that is performing at a really high level. And he had just mentioned Bo Nix. I could go down the list, though, and name off a quarterback from every team almost. The fact that they're probably the best conference right now in the country is mind-boggling to me, just because they've been down for so many years. And right now, at least, you could say they could even possibly get two teams into the college football playoff. I don't think that's going to happen, but you just don't know, right? We've had two SEC teams before. I would say the team that's probably shocked me the most, just in terms of being competitive, and I'm going to go in the SEC, is honestly, I didn't think Auburn would even really compete this year, to tell you the truth. I just thought there was going to be some time in between to really kind of get that program jump-started again with Hugh Freeze. But I've been impressed with just their competitiveness in games. And I know that they haven't won everything, and they're, right there in the middle of things. But I think this is a team this year who honestly could maybe possibly beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. We're going to see.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's definitely going to see about that one.
I have bet against them twice and gone 0-2. Both times I've bet against them. But, it was a good atmosphere for them, and we'll get to teams we're not impressed by in a minute, obviously. And it feels like one of us is bound to pick Georgia in that. But Georgia just looked scared in that environment. And Carson Beck looked awful. Awful.
Yeah. He did.
Brock Bowers was great, but Georgia cannot create any kind of explosive plays, and it's hard to win on the road having to sustain 10 to 12 play drives over and over and over. Georgia ranks 81st in marginal explosiveness as judged by Bill Connolly, the S&P Plus, on ESPN.com. Their first quarter scoring margin is 0.0 points per game. That is the worst of any team in the AP top 20. They just don't start well.
Would you equate that to the talent or losing Todd Monken, or where would you say that plays the biggest part?
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, I do think we probably underestimated all of the things Stetson Bennett did for that offense, unfortunately. Even though he's one of the least likable guys, I feel like, that was in college football last year. I don't know. I'm just biased, but
yeah, I know. I'd agree with you on
he
that.
just comes across kind of spoiled and, the silver spoon of quarterbacks, right? That you can just sit there and just be protected and behind 5 stars and just float the football out to guys who are wide open all the time.
Right.
Guys are open, and Carson Beck, especially in that first half against Auburn, missed a wide-open Brock Bowers over the middle of the field and then throws a pick on the next play. Then Auburn goes down and scores and takes their early lead in the game. He hasn't stepped right in and run the offense quite as seamlessly as I expected him to. You guys know, in the offseason, I thought he was a sleeper Heisman pick.
You thought he was rolling. You did.
And he is not that guy. I was badly mistaken thinking that somebody at the quarterback position could just step right in with the star rating behind them and just be the guy for Georgia. The team that's impressed me is Kentucky. I mean, they're undefeated at this point, guys. They're 5-0.
I know.
Yep, they're ranked this week.
They have got a chance going to Athens, going to Georgia this upcoming weekend to really do some crazy things. But it's not that they are beating teams that we didn't expect them to this early. I don't think anyone's super surprised that they are 5-0. They haven't played anybody great other than Florida. So, in other words, they haven't played anybody great so far this season. But they have 16 gains of 30-plus yards. That's 16th in college football. They've only allowed 5 plays of 30-plus yards. That's 7th in college football. This stat was crazy. I saw Dawn Davenport retweeted this the other day. Under Mark Stoops, Kentucky has now spent more weeks ranked in the AP poll since 2018, 32 weeks, than the previous 60 years combined in the history of Kentucky football. Wow. In 60 years, they had 31 weeks ranked in the AP top 25. And since Mark Stoops has risen this program from the ashes since 2018, they've been in there 32 times.
Wow.
Pretty good.
That's real good. That's the reason he's able to talk his stuff when it comes down to UK. Coach Stoops. I mean, I get it. And this is also one of those things where I know it's easy to go to the newest, bigger, flashiest thing when it comes to college sports. Dude, stay there and get that statue. Screw that. Well, they've made history in the last 5 years at their university, and man, that makes all the sense in the world for me, for him to just be there.
That's why still, if I'm Michigan State, he's the first guy I'm calling.
You see, there it is right there. You still,
he has to
I
be.
know, but stay.
Michigan State will spend money.
I mean, they gave Mel Tucker over $10 million a year.
Right.
God,
And he gone.
And he gone.
Yeah, he's built such a steady Eddie program up there. Obviously put some really good guys in the league as well. So it's a matter of what does he want to do moving forward? That's a good question. Is he okay with that? I mean, look at what his brother did for so long at Oklahoma, and that's a whole nother program, right?
Yeah, right.
But he stayed there for quite a while. I don't know what the goals are for some coaches. Maybe some coaches aren't Lane Kiffin, who need to change every 3-4 years.
It's always easy to go to the next thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe he's content with just, like you said, continuing to build Kentucky's brand in football.
Yeah, we're gonna see. I just did the thing that Will showed me I can do with my iPad. That's crazy. That's why I was so confused over here. I was listening.
That's why you were talking away from your microphone.
Yeah,
I know.
I
It's
was
like,
trying to
what's
get
going
his
on
Typically where
over
the sound goes into.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
In the Infinite Big
I'm
Chat,
working,
you can
though.
join the conversation. Comment on Twitch says Carson Beck was 24 of 33 for 313. Pretty good to me. Yeah, but if you watched that game, he missed some throws early in that game that cost Georgia points and gave points to Auburn. Made some mistakes early in that one. And like we mentioned, they can't generate any kind of downfield passing game. They're dinking and dunking down the field to Brock Bowers. And guys, Brock Bowers has got to be a Heisman finalist. He's got to be.
Has to be.
If we're in the business of honoring the most valuable and most talented players in college football, Brock Bowers put the team on his back down there at Jordan-Hare Stadium over the weekend.
See, I love and hate talking about teams that are dominant. Like you mentioned Alabama or Georgia. Like when they're undefeated or having good, the truth never wants to come out. Georgia is sputtering big time offensively coming out of the gates. They just are. And there's no knock against Beck or their team. They got a real good team. They are dominant, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But to not be real about how stagnant that offense gets at times, think about what Auburn was able to do last weekend. I think I'm burying the lead a little bit by talking about what we're not impressed by, but that's not my team. But you said somebody in the comments was like, well, he still looked good. Like, nah, he didn't look good till later in that game when it was pressing. They had to force the ball to Brock Bowers.
Yeah, that's a little bit of stat
incredible.
sheet scouting there.
Yeah. Watching the game, it's iffy in that first, 3 quarters?
Yeah. And Brock Bowers is one rare bird. Like that is, in my opinion, could be a guy that you have on your Heisman ballot, which I would love to see win if he continues to do what he does. And that's rare because we don't see anybody but a quarterback win it.
Exactly.
He's that special.
He is nice. Very nice.
Mike in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube asks, what is the NFL viewpoint on Caleb Williams staying? If certain teams are in position to draft him, he'll just stay at USC another year to avoid them. How do NFL GMs and coaches look at that? I don't think that's really a factor. I know that they've said that, but I think it's his dad maybe that said that.
It was.
I'll
his
believe
pops.
that when I see it. Yeah.
And then, of course, right now, I'd love to go to Chicago and play. If we're being honest, I mean, the city's beautiful. If he don't want to go to Green Bay, well, you won't have an opportunity to go to Green Bay.
Yeah, and Chicago right now would have the number 1 and 2 picks in the draft.
Yep.
A solid place to play at.
He's so far and away the number 1 pick for this year. It's crazy. Crazy. I mean, even more so than Bryce Young, you feel like.
Yeah. There was questions behind him. Like, Caleb checks every box.
Right. Another team for me, obviously, is Florida State. I needed to see it from them. Thought they would, have the early success against LSU. But going to Clemson and beating Clemson is a feat in and of itself. That's a hard place to win, regardless of what Clemson looks like right now. The concern for Florida State, they can't run the football. Run game with Trey Benson, Rodney Hill, Lawrence Tuafili, it has not been great. They're averaging just 4.6 yards per carry, just 2 rushes of 20-plus yards. At some point, they're going to drop a game because Jordan Travis is being asked to carry the world of that offense on his shoulders. Mm-hmm. And they got a heck of a defense, too, so don't get me wrong. But it feels like they kind of got out of jail a little bit against Clemson. They lived very dangerously against Boston College. As impressed as I've been with FSU, I have a little bit more faith in some of those other teams that haven't made the playoff that we talked about preseason. I like Texas a lot. That game against Oklahoma this weekend is going to be a blast in the Cotton Bowl. And I like Penn State and what they've been able to do so far this year.
Penn State's, I don't want to say quietly, but they do get kind of stuck underneath the Ohio State, the Michigans, right?
They do.
But man, James Franklin is doing something up there. I'll tell you that much. And that is a team that is built for the playoff, I feel like. If you run into them, that's probably not going to be a fun situation.
Yep. Best part is now everybody's about to start seeing that back half of the of the schedule. Mm-hmm. All the ones that we have questions about, Kentucky, Missouri. I mean, let's speak about that one.
We'll see what they do when they get into some thick SEC play, right?
Including LSU this weekend, which we'll preview coming up here at 7 o'clock.
But I'll give them credit too, guys. I did not see this coming. I was poo-pooing the heck out of Eli Drinkwitz and them up there. So far, they've done a legit job.
They have, but even on the Pac-12 side of stuff too, Kayla, like they're about to start playing each other too. Yeah. It's about to get dicey with how everybody's sifting this stuff out. Louisville's in this conversation. I saw them on the list too. Yeah. This is a good time to be alive now. This is when we hit October football.
Put the gas pedal down.
Man, please.
People looked at me like I had 3 heads when I said Missouri would beat Tennessee and Como.
Oof.
I'm still living this shit with 3 heads.
Okay. Well.
All right. Yep. Not going to live that life.
When is that?
Late in the season.
Okay.
November.
Okay.
Well, Missouri plays LSU this week.
Right. But Tennessee.
You did?
I was asking about y'all.
No, I was just looking at tests that they're going to have.
November 11th.
Unimpressed teams? I'm ready to get to that one.
Yeah, who are you not impressed with?
LSU. Expected way more. Heard way more.
And it's not even the Jaden Daniels thing.
We've
talked a lot about Jaden Daniels maybe not being ready to be a transcendent Hendon Hooker last season, even Stetson Bennett level quarterback. Their defense sucks. LSU is bad at defense. Yeah. And again, we talked about it the other day. PFF says that they missed 30 tackles against Ole Miss.
30?
30.
30.
That's as much as you would miss in about a month.
Yeah.
Bad.
Are you serious? And it looked like it on tape. They just like they're just throwing bodies around out there, man. I mean, Ole Miss, I never knew the Grove to be hard to play at. I'll just throw that out there, too. I know all SEC places are, at nighttime, hold that over. I thought LSU should have ran through them.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're giving up. I saw the stat line behind it. They're giving up 31 points a game. LSU giving up 31 points a game. That's not okay, man. As many athletes that they have all across the board, man. Just the rushing game, too. I mean, they're middle of the row, I guess, collegiately when it comes down to the rushing game, 198 yards a game. But all in all, the defense is where they're trash. They're tied for 107. We're talking about LSU. DBU. We're talking about D-line U. All these little U places that they have, and they're underperforming. They've lost 2 games this year.
Gave up 317 yards on the ground to Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's a hard day. Hard day at the office right there. And Auburn's on their schedule. Bama's on their schedule. A&M.
I don't know if that's something either that you can just turn the light switch on in terms of defense.
Well, Brian Kelly going to have to figure something out.
Yeah. Because he's now expected to not just win down there, but compete for championships, y'all.
What year is this? 2 for him? This is when real expectations come into play?
Well, and I think, too, he was so far ahead of schedule last season that's where the SEC media kind of ran away with the expectations a bit for Brian Kelly. And he was so far ahead of schedule last season. It's going to take a little bit of time. And Brian Kelly spoke about that. You listen to people talk about it and say, yes, they have the transfers, but they still don't have the depth that you need to consistently week in and week out compete at the highest level of the Southeastern Conference. And the problem is, Ole Miss could not run the football against Alabama defensively. When you go back to that game just a few weeks ago, in that game, Ole Miss against Alabama guys ran for 56 yards. And they just ran for over 300 against LSU. Alabama is going to run up and down the field against that LSU defense.
I just honestly want to be an agitator on this. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all about Brian Kelly not having his guys, and he said that out front. Well, we've also been thinking the same thing about Jimbo, too. Sometimes they might not have it anymore. Jimbo at A&M hasn't lived up to the expectation at all. And that's my only portion of it where I'm like, I want to push back. Sometimes these coaches pull the wool over our eyes on their expectations, and I think we give them too much of the benefit of the doubt. What if this is LSU in this climate of recruiting, in this era of football, in the SEC right now? Maybe he just don't have it, because if that's the case and Lane is still on the west side of things, it's not going to get any easier for him.
Yeah, you got to give a little credit to A&M the way they've started the season. But, the point is fair that when Sonny Dykes can take you to the national championship game right away at TCU, of all places, these coaches don't have the 2, 3, 4 year master plan time to build their programs anymore when you can get a bunch of good transfers and do it in year 1.
Well, that's the thing. That's part of the SEC. When you go down here and join a program like LSU, part of it is because you know you're going to get the recruits right away. You know you're going to get the money back behind you. Everything that comes along with that. Now you've got to make sure that you live up to the coaching part of it. There's not many excuses that you can use at that point, especially if you're an established coach like not Les Miles. What am I thinking? Brian Kelly. Because Jimbo's taken his time there. And the only reason he's still there is because there was a bag behind it and they couldn't afford to get him out.
Man, LSU had 40 commits last year. I'm thinking this is transfers also. With 3
Transfers
5-stars.
Before we go to break, Kayla, who has not impressed you this season?
Well, Clemson. And they're not even ranked. That's crazy, guys. Year after year, this has been a team that Dabo's been able to at least keep somewhat relevant. You guys, they're non-existent. We're not even talking about them. They are not the ACC leaders anymore.
That's fair.
I thought Garrett Riley would have a bigger impact on the Clemson offense, considering how good he was at TCU. You can't even tell he's there. Cade Klubnik has not taken the next step.
Nope.
It just kind of seems like Dabo is never going to be the guy that he was in the current era of college football.
Yep.
615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, a crazy trend was ended yesterday in sports that you probably didn't even know was a thing. We'll tell you about it coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will for Kellum Stem Cell Institute. I think we need to break down the perception of who this is available for. The answer is everybody, from people who are on their feet all the time, whether it be something you had in your history that's been bothering you for a long time. Kellum Stem Cell Institute uses your own body's stem cell to improve the way you feel and take some of the inflammation out, Will.
Yeah, if you're listening to the sound of our voice right now and you have any aches and pains, this is for you. Holistic stem cell therapy from our friends at Kellum Stem Cell Institute. You got to visit them online at kellumstemcellinstitute.com. They could not only harvest your own body's stem cells. They can also store them for future use and continued use. These are your body's own healing cells, harvested and redeployed based on your needs. KellumStemCellInstitute.com. Check out the website and put this great technology to work for you. That's KELLUM StemCellInstitute.com. Wednesday morning rolls on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. Coming up in 15 minutes, continuing the college football discussion this morning. It is an incredible weekend of college football coming up this Saturday. If you're like Ramon and your team's on a bye week this weekend, you got a lot of good options to watch as a neutral observer.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. So we'll get into that. Yesterday, a crazy streak ended in the world of sports, guys. I spoke about it yesterday, but didn't give specifics to the Minnesota Twins losing streak in the postseason. This was the longest losing streak in North American men's professional sports, and it is over. Woo. Guys, this was not only a series losing streak, this was an 18-game losing streak.
Jeez.
Where the Minnesota Twins, who have been in the playoffs a decent amount since October 5th, 2004, when they had their last win in the postseason, they beat the Toronto Blue Jays 3-1 yesterday. Mm-hmm. Couple of home runs from Royce Lewis, the difference. Former high draft pick by the Minnesota Twins, and the longest losing streak in pro sports is over.
Man, yeah, he's number one out of high school in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, man. Turned out to be a stud. He's 22 years old already with a full bald head, though, man. I was tripping
I know,
off that.
right?
I was like,
Because you can't tell when he has the hat on.
Oh, he's haired up, right? Yeah. Big on him, man. That was good. I was listening to the game. I was watching that one, too, and they were just like, he said he had a good night of sleep. And they were just bragging like, I wish I had that good of a night of sleep, man, because he had a good game yesterday. By the way, that fan base it's playoff ball, so it's going to be awesome anyway. That stadium was real good. When we went up there for the preseason, they packed it out that night, man.
We've got good fans up there.
They
really
do got
fans.
good fans. If they do continue to win in the postseason, though, how cold did y'all expect games to be up there? Because they have an outside
really
stadium. Yeah, you might
Target
see flurries.
Field.
Yeah, Target Field. Did you know that's what Target's headquarters are, too?
Yeah.
Did not know this. You got to spread this news out.
I know. Yeah, it's impressive seeing Minnesota finally, get back in terms of, like Will said, they've been in the postseason, but having success there has been a whole different story. And, my aunt lives up there, and she's been a Twins fan for years, and they really do embrace baseball up there, as crazy as it sounds, because it's so far north. It's good for the fan base, absolutely, to have them. And I really think that this is a team that can compete. If you start playing your best baseball in October to start the playoffs, this is why it's so fun, because teams like this can make a real push.
And it was fascinating, too, just watching how the team apparently the pitcher from the Blue Jays had a tip. He had a bad tip. They were not biting on his splitter ball at all. Anytime he threw it, nobody moved. And I would love to know what that was, because the analysts on TV just kept bringing it up, and it was super obvious, too. And I was just like, wow, they aren't swinging at it. It was one
Kevin
or two
Gausman. Former LSU and Braves pitcher.
That was fascinating to see them pick up on it so fast. They weren't even lifting their leg at all. I was wondering, what is the tip he's giving up right now?
Pablo Lopez got the win.
Yep.
Former Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. I called a couple of his starts back in 2018. That is crazy that there's like one wave of players that I got to see in Double-A.
Yeah.
He was one I never thought would be any good.
What's even crazier, guys, if you look, especially on this Blue Jays roster, a lot of former really big leaguers, their sons are playing now.
Yep.
You've got Vlad Guerrero Jr., obviously. You've got Biggio's kid. It's nuts to say we're in
Boba
a whole, Bo Bichette. We're in a whole different generation
Legacies.
of players.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that they've just kind of picked up where their pops have left off,
I have a big gripe with the Minnesota Twins. One, does anyone know what their mascot is?
Two buildings?
Oh, it's
Mr. Twin or
I can see it. I don't know what
it is not a twin.
It is.
Oh, it's not.
It should
Okay.
be
It's like a
twin.
weird thing.
It is a bear. His name is
Oh.
TC Bear.
That's
Oh,
right.
there it is.
So I don't know how they got the name the Twins, but it seems like they would lean in, like maybe have a Shining reference, like as the
Ooh.
Twins as their mascot. But also, did you know there have been 10 pairs of twins in the major leagues, and not one pair of those have played for the Twins? They should
What
lean
a
into
stat.
it. You should go out and get
Analytics.
Go out and go get the Taylor brothers. Go out and get somebody.
But
I
when I
like
come
that.
back home to Nashville, to the South, from a city that calls itself the land of 10,000 lakes, oh, then I'm the liar out here, huh? But the fact that they call themselves twins and don't have a single twin in the building, now that's something we stand behind.
We didn't say you were a liar.
Oh, okay. I get
fibber?
it. I get it. It's about me. I get it. It's cool. I told y'all they were liars up there. Did I not?
They've been liars. They need to go trade for Taylor and Tyler Roger right now, get both their twins on their roster, and then they have something to really stand on.
Yeah, and get 2 mascots. They look alike.
That's a great. They should have 2 bears, twin bears. If you're
There
going
we
to have
go.
bears, make them twins.
Please.
If the Mets can have Mr. and Mrs. Met, then you can have twin 1 and twin 2.
Don't be talking about my girl like that.
Okay.
I'm talking about it, okay? Because
well-
LSU got a real tiger. We can get real bears out of Minnesota.
Tim
right
just mentioned it in the F&M Bank chat where I was going to go next. If you want to feel really old.
Oh, boy.
This upcoming weekend, Kurt Warner's son plays Josh McCown's son in college football.
Oh, boy.
now. Let's go.
Ay, ay, ay.
E.J. Warner, the quarterback of the Temple Owls. Who? The Temple Owls.
I missed that one.
Will take on Owen McCown at UTSA.
Let's go.
Oh, that's nuts.
Sons of a couple former Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to talk about dads getting mad at people talking about their sons? Kurt Warner will tweet you if you talk about it.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
Really?
Yes,
Wait.
for sure.
Should we test that
Time
out?
out.
Remote Kayla will.
Who is the other quarterback in that?
Owen
McCown.
McCown, Josh McCown's son.
I don't know if his dad is upset about tweets.
Wasn't he
but
trying to become an OC at some point, too?
Josh, yeah,
Yeah, for the Cowboys,
Yeah.
I think? Yeah.
correct.
615-737-1045 is our number. We'll get to the college football weekend coming up. Of course, Wednesday always our scout meeting Wednesday for the Titans. We'll do that at 7:20, breaking down the Colts. But there are 5 games specifically I've got my eye on in college football this weekend, including one that could completely turn the SEC upside down. That's next on RKW.
Hey, this is Kayla Anderson for the Ingram Agency. This is pretty much a local agency that was founded from the ground up way back in 2010. Chris Ingram, along with his team of fully licensed professionals, they have created a strong agency that really focuses on covering all of the state, not just Middle Tennessee, but the entire state of Tennessee. So let's say you need insurance. Maybe you're in a transition period or you just need insurance for the first time. This is definitely the company to work with. They specialize in a wide array of products. They include everything from auto, home, life, commercial, even aviation. And it's not your average insurance company. It's the Ingram Agency, founded on passion for education and support of their clients. And their goal has really always been to guide and protect their clients comprehensively. If you do want a family-owned insurance company that you're not just another name on the roster, they actually care about the customer here. Call the Ingram Agency, 615-206-8276. You can also log online to theинgramagency.com. Make sure to always rest easy with the Ingram Agency.
What's going on? Good morning. 7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. The Titans are in the market for another running back and are going to consider a familiar face to fill their void. Titans hosted running back Jonathan Ward for a workout yesterday. Ward appeared in 3 games for the Titans last season, playing mostly on special teams. He had a good shot at being the Titans' number 3 running back out of training camp, but suffered a knee injury in preseason week 1 that led to him being waived with an injury designation, reverting back to injured reserve, and then went on to get a settlement, which would allow him to play in 2023. Now he's shooting for a spot on the Titans practice squad. Houston Texans left guard Kendrick Green suffered a torn meniscus in his right knee against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday and is expected to be out indefinitely. The Texans traded a 2025 6th-round pick to the Steelers for Green after their 2022 first-round pick, left guard Kenyon Green, suffered a season-ending shoulder injury in the final preseason game of the year. Kendrick Green started 3 games for the Texans after there were injuries on the left side of the starting unit. Just can't get their greens to stay on the field. And in the major leagues last night playoffs, Rangers blanked the Rays 4-0. Twins beat the Blue Jays 3-1 in the NL wild card. Diamondbacks took down the Brewers 6-3, and the Phillies filled the Marlins 4-1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running in the second hour of your Wednesday morning as we welcome you. Hot, fresh, brewed by 8th and Roast RKW. We're powered by you on the phone lines of 615-737-1045 and by this outstanding coffee. I'm on the bottom of cup number 1 right now. Our beautiful mugs you can see on 104.5 The Zone TV. You've got the 8th and Roast logo right there. We've got 8th and Roast coffee in it, with 3 locations on 8th Avenue, Charlotte, and the airport. 8th and Roast Coffee cultivates community by the cup. This is your sign if you're listening. Stop by 8th and Roast. Get you a chorizo breakfast burrito, light roast coffee with a splash of cream, and then thank me later. At Will_Bowling, where you can thank me later. 615-737-1045 with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling.
Morning, good people. Time to get
What
to it
time
on
is
this
it?
Colts
7?
week.
All right.
Yeah, 7:04, baby. 7:04,
go.
North Carolina area code. Huh, Bert? Yep. Bert's
Bert
busy right
Bert
now.
is
took a call.
busy.
He
He's
took
a busy
call.
man.
He's a busy
back
man. Yeah, I mean, solving the world's problems yesterday. I enjoyed Research Bert, man.
there.
Coming up. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, we had talked about fall and how we haven't really had fall yet here.
Yeah.
Because it's hot.
That's correct.
And then Ramon brought this up, and then I looked at the weather. We're going to have 60s this weekend. Chili pot's coming out
Like the high will be 60?
Yeah.
in the 60s, baby.
Yes. Well, the high would be. I told y'all.
Interesting.
I told y'all about El Nino. Nobody wanted to listen, and we're feeling it already.
Mm-hmm.
Told y'all.
Now we got it at the start of our show sometimes.
I feel like
Yeah, for real.
we are probably a week or 2 away from actual fall. I guess this weekend, though, is about, that would count as the next week.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we're there.
Let's embrace
Usually,
it.
well, I don't know. Usually it's like end of October here.
It's,
Right.
Like we'll get one more week of fake fall and then one final heat wave, and then we'll be good. Like October, like 15th to 20th is typically the sweet spot.
Yep.
It's actually time to go, if you hadn't already, go pick up your mums and decorations for October and November.
Yeah,
That's where I'm
Ooh.
at. Getting some pumpkins for the front. This is so suburbia right here. Oh, my gosh.
Is that all you do, or do you do like the Halloween lights? Do you do the creatures?
No lights,
The
only
skeletons?
Christmas lights.
Okay.
Yeah, no skeletons. We got a few signs. Do the pumpkins up the stairs going to the house and stuff. We did hay bales, but the hay bales are so hard to get rid of at the end of the decoration period and stuff. It is what it is. But yeah, it's time to go get you some mums, guys.
Some
Get
what?
you some pumpkins.
Some mums. Oh,
It's a mum.
It's a mum is a type of flower that's hung out in the fall. Do not take your girlfriend to Home Depot or Lowe's, or she will ask you to buy her multiple sets of mums.
Yep.
Because you got to have two to match. There will be yellow, and then she'll want another color to offset that, potentially orange or
Red.
red.
Yep.
Okay.
And the problem is, my girlfriend has the opposite of a green thumb, so whatever she buys will be dead in a week. I promise you that.
You know they don't actually die. Like, you can actually put them in the ground, bury them in soil, they'll come back, too.
Really?
Yep, figured it out last year.
Huh.
Yep.
Those are called perennials.
Perennials. Yep, 100%.
They won't stay mum.
They will not stay mom. They
Look
go
at
dormant.
Kayla this morning.
They go dormant, and then they will come back. You can put them in your ground.
You've been hanging out with us way
I
too long.
really have.
You really have.
So
you guys
like
proud of me? I'm growing up.
it's like the opposite of the Midas touch. Like whenever Jim Irsay does something with the Colts,
Correct.
it just immediately goes to crap.
Well, then it's always my fault. Why are my plants dying? What is going on here? I'm like, well, have you watered them? And it's like your dad calling you like, hey, I can't get my TV to work. Have you plugged it in, Dad? Have you checked the
Yes.
back of it? Are there batteries in your remote?
The 6 and 7 o'clock Cheyenne slander is good,
Oh, my
Bert.
God.
It's been real
She's
good.
driving now. Now I'm getting in dangerous time when she might text me and be like, you should have just simplified that. You know?
Oh no.
Peyton and I went to Pumpkin Palooza a couple
Ooh.
weeks ago at Trader Joe's already.
Oh, you
Wow.
tell us.
What
Already
what
had
is
our-
that?
Pumpkin Palooza, it's like
Yeah.
what Trader Joe's does for like all of October,
Okay.
where they have a ton of pumpkin-based items. So I have been eating, I had a pumpkin cheesecake that I took home from there. I got some pumpkin waffles.
That would be good.
Outstanding.
Wow.
They're frozen, like frozen waffles, like you put in the toaster or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. But you know, I love anything fall. So
Yeah, me
Anything
too.
basic.
pumpkin.
While we're on the topic of anything's fall, how do you guys feel about those scary houses that pop up around this time of year?
Love it.
Not into it.
I love it.
It's
Really?
it's terrifying.
I
Yes,
love
it is.
And because the scariest part to me is, those people
Mm-hmm.
live for these 3 months where they get to just scare the bejesus out of
you're weird for a
children.
living.
That is a terrible way to make a living.
It
Like
really is.
I like scaring people as much as the next guy, but I hide around corners and then it's just me. It's not a clown with a chainsaw or something.
Well,
Baby
do it with your
Freddy Krueger.
coworkers too, where you can then enjoy the benefits of that long term.
Correct.
You can keep scaring them.
Yeah.
Have you been to haunted houses, y'all?
No, got
yeah.
no interest in them.
I have.
You guys, these things, I live for these things when I can go.
What?
When I went to
This is
I
so
went to
random.
Virginia to visit my aunt back in the day, she
Yeah.
took me to one. It was the scariest thing I've ever in my life. I think my heart stopped beating at
Of
some
all
point.
places,
And you enjoy that.
Virginia.
Yeah.
We got to get Kayla out at some
we do
spook
that?
trails.
I'll do the corn maze
So-
with you. I'll let you go inside the building.
Corn mazes aren't. Well, I guess those can be
Those can
scary
be.
because those are there are haunted mazes that you can do. I did it. We did it as a team at Tennessee. Like our
Yeah.
whole team went to one.
Your whole team.
I don't know.
is
Like
one?
I just if it's like a group event and it's paid for, then I'll go. But like I'm not gonna spend my money to go be scared when I can just watch a movie on Netflix for free. That will. I mean, I know it's not free, but I can just sit and watch a movie that's not gonna like. I don't have to get up. Like I can be scared just by sitting on my couch. I'll go watch 2013 Tennessee football highlights.
Oh.
The
Well,
tip I'll give
2008.
anyone who is scared of these things, if you were the man and you're supposed to be the big, strong savior in these situations, just laugh your way through it because they're looking for context clues.
it's
Like
true.
somebody
For
failing
sure.
Spanish in 7th grade.
Uh-huh.
Like they're just looking for who looks scared right now. Who can be who can opportunistically get to scream and scare this entire group. They're just looking for the weak link. So if you go through laughing, they're going to leave you alone.
Well,
Exactly.
last year the Red River rivalry was a haunted house for Oklahoma. They got
There
shut
you
out
go.
by Texas.
Look at that transition.
You could say their offense was haunted. As in that haunted house was in the end zone, and like Ramon, they did not step foot in it. Oklahoma plus 205 on the money line against Texas this time around.
Oklahoma? Oh, plus 205. Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
You got Texas A&M, Alabama as well, guys. This game could completely shift the power balance of the SEC. The winner of that game is the favorite to win the SEC West.
At this point already?
Yeah,
Nuts.
the
Wowzers.
favorite. I mean, the favorite at this point. Yes, I mean, doesn't mean that's going to happen, but A&M has played Bama really well the last 2 years. Obviously, they beat them in 41-38 in 2021 with Zach Calzada at quarterback. And last year, Alabama only beat A&M 24-20.
Mhm.
I think This one's going to be interesting.
And it's at Alabama. Or no, it's
No,
at
it's not.
A&M.
No, it's in Aggie Land.
Yeah.
In Aggieland. And it's a 2:30 kickoff Central, too.
Does A&M overlook Alabama looking ahead to Tennessee?
No, absolutely
think
not.
so.
They much rather lose Tennessee.
I'm being sarcastic, guys.
Are
Come on.
you?
Let me do the bit for
Oh,
1
okay.
second.
Shoot, I thought you were
Let me have a
real.
nice time for 1 second and just troll Alabama. Gosh, no fun. All right, go ahead.
We're all so serious.
No, go ahead.
They're not going to.
Go ahead.
No, they're not. Will, my bad. I messed up the joke, man. It's all
you
good, man. It's all good. We'll keep fighting, man.
We could have
We'll
had
get
a
there one
couldn't
day.
be my team moment right now. But
We
no.
could have, but no. A&M goes into this one looking for blood. They have to. They absolutely have to, man. At home, 2:30 kickoff, Central, and a time to actually be able to bury Alabama. And the one thing that A&M has going for it in these first few games is their defense too. They're getting busy. They are getting very busy, and it's stagnant. Well, as slow as that Alabama offense has been to start this year, well, it's not Bryce Young. Let's just throw that out there. I mean, you had Milroe scoring last week on a botch play. Like, that's their means of operating right now. Yeah, they ran away with the game, but, like, let's think about that for a second.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. A&M obviously not with their starting quarterback who was out, 2 games ago, was it, that they lost him?
Lost him at Auburn.
Yeah. So that'll be a nice little challenge here
Or at home against Auburn.
for him against this Alabama defense.
Him being Max Johnson.
Max Johnson.
I'm sorry, Max Johnson. I think this could be a really even battle. I think it might go down to the wire. I'll probably my gut's telling me favor A&M a little bit because it's there.
Got A&M.
But I don't know, guys.
I got A&M on this one. Not even-
LSU at Missouri, Kentucky at Georgia, Notre Dame, Louisville. Some decent matchups in Southeast this weekend. If you want to count Missouri as the Southeast, which I don't.
If Louisville beats Notre Dame, we think Louisville's for real?
They could.
Could be.
Because at this point, I think I'm still kind of like, well, let's see who you play next, right?
It's hard to know who's for real in that conference.
Yeah, it is.
Notre Dame, though, has continued, and I'm still so mad about the way they covered that game against Duke. I went 0-3 last week in a Thursday 3 with 3 just hilarious losses. And
Last
that was
week
one of
was
them.
rough, guys, for me too.
Not our best weekend.
No.
Making the people money. Ramon, good news for Ramon, though.
What'd you
Back
do?
in the thick of the race. I don't know what your record was.
Yeah, what was your-
My Thursday 3. Duke.
Okay. Yeah, you had Duke also.
Bama, Ole Miss, Bama favorite. I was 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I was 1
You gained a
and 2.
game on me and Kayla.
Welcome to the club.
Oh, y'all went 0 and 3?
Welcome to New York.
Coming up, we scout the Colts. A little bit of scout meeting Wednesday for the people. Anthony Richardson, not the best passer in the NFL. He's 32nd in one stat, but he is leading the league on designed quarterback runs. What does Ramon Foster see on film from the Indianapolis Colts, and how do the Titans head to Indy and get a 5th straight win in Lucas Oil Stadium? We dive into Sunday's matchup coming up next. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling. Do you need an extra outlet or two? Do you have wall switches that don't seem to work? Or is your car charger not performing efficiently? Well, these all seem to be simple issues, but they are rarely do-it-yourself projects. Heck, if I'm doing it myself, I'm just going to make the problem worse, right? You're probably in the same boat. Well, dealing with electricity, that requires the expertise of an experienced professional. And there are a lot of experienced professionals ready to help you 24/7, 365 over at Lee Company. And I love that about Lee Company. They are always available and ready to take your call and help you out efficiently and quickly. Their electrical team can solve any problem you have safely and efficiently. And right now, you can enjoy $20 off an electrical service call for a limited time. Get $20 off from the folks at Lee Company. Give them a call today, 615-567-1000 or leecompany.com for an appointment. We've all got things on our list we've been putting off around the house. Let Lee Company help you out. 615-567-1000, online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
The future joint pain relief is here. It's called QC Kinetics, okay? Advanced Regenerative Medicine. This is amazing stuff, and it's Ramon Foster. And if you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking lasting relief also. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joints to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue. Imagine living life this fall with no more pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Listen, life is all about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Call QC Kinetics at 615-249-4024. Again, the number is 615-249-4024.
Wednesdays at 7:20, we move on from the football weekend and head into the new work week for the Tennessee Titans. And this week, it is an AFC South opponent for the first time in 2023. Yes, it is time for Scout Meeting Wednesday right here on RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. Locations on 8th Avenue, Charlotte, and in the airport, wherever you are driving or flying this morning. Check them out. We go to the phones first, though. The Ferns. Regard to the Ferns. Dustin and Laverne is up first. 615-737-1045. What's up, Dustin?
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning to you.
Morning.
I just wanted to comment on something I was super excited about at this last game. I'm a big Josh Wiley fan. I've got a lot of confidence in him, and I actually already ordered myself a Josh Wiley jersey.
Nice.
But I was just really happy to see him getting involved in the game. I know there had been some complaints about him not doing so well with the blocking. I'm pretty sure he had a really big block on Derrick Henry's run into the end zone over there, and seemed like he was doing a pretty solid job most of the day. I just really, really want to see them get him incorporated in the offense when you got a guy that's, I think he's about the size of what Jimmy Graham is, maybe not quite as heavy, but he can definitely be a game changer, and I'm so excited about him being on our team. So I just wanted to see what y'all had to say about all that.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Dustin.
I would say, Dustin, it was good to see him involved. For sure, because I just think we just didn't hear a lot about Wiley up until that point. He had an okay training camp. And look, he's a rookie. He's learning as he goes there. But a natural pass catcher, obviously, wide receiver turned tight end. I would love to see him get involved in the red zone, right? Yeah. We've talked about being able to utilize some of these weapons down there. Who could be that next guy that they utilize? Maybe it's a guy like him who had a big game in terms of blocking. I thought did a lot better, but just to see him get his first NFL touchdown still pretty early on in the season. Hopefully that ankle heals up this week and he's going to be available next week, because every option is big for this offense this year.
It was just good to see him used in the role that we thought he would be used in.
Yeah.
That pass down the seams, that's the play you want to see him in open space. And then the tight red zone. I mean, what he just said a second ago, knowing how to utilize a player, blocking until he gets a little bit more mature and more weight on him, if he chooses to do that and the coaches ask that of him, ain't going to be his specialty right now. Making pass catching is going to be his specialty, and I'm glad to see it being used. Definitely.
Yeah, it is certainly important for them, like we talked about with Adam Amin on Friday, when you're tight in the red zone like that. Adam Amin said it word for word with us Friday show, said a quarterback's best friend in those moments is the tight end.
Perfect, yeah.
And certainly was the case for the quarterback that we didn't expect, Derrick Henry.
I love that.
In the red zone.
Did you guys see that tweet yesterday where he says all the time, like, young Peyton Manning, and then Peyton Manning goes back and says, I had some runs like Derrick Henry.
No, I didn't see that one.
They
No, I
tweeted
missed
it out. The Titans did. Go check it out if you missed it.
I have to go check that one out. I missed that one.
It was funny.
So it is time for a little bit of Scout Meeting Wednesday.
Let's go.
As the Titans take on the Indianapolis Colts. Robert Walsh, hit the music. In a second. Oh, no.
You got a recording error. Give me one
Oh,
second.
no.
Oh, yeah.
It's not great.
You could do it live,
We'll
Ramon.
do it live. Yeah, I got no problem with that. I think I still have my script.
Hey, you got to beat on your mic first and ask if it's
There
on.
we go. Is this thing on?
Thing on?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is.
You
Yeah,
hit it a little bit too hard.
We welcome you all into Scout Meeting Wednesday, and this is a tale of what you will expect this weekend from the from the opponent of your team. I will tell you how good they are and maybe how bad your team is, and you know what? It's supposed to be that way, because on any given Sunday, you can get your behind kicked in. Yeah! This week's focus, man, is the Indianapolis Colts, man. Shane Steichen as the head coach of this team. Very fascinating team. 2-2. The whole AFC South is 2-2, man. Week 1 lost to the Jags, but they have beat the Texans and Ravens in overtime. That's what's fascinating about this team, is they beat a team that seemed to be streaky hot right now with the Texans and beat a good Baltimore Ravens team in overtime. Really, really tripped me out. Also rallied back against the Rams and lost to them in overtime when they had opportunities too. They were down a good bit in that game and fought back. So either way you look at this team, I don't think this Colts team is as bad as it was last year. I actually think they've been battle-tested a little bit early on by having two overtime games this year so far. That can harden you. That can make you feel like you're a little bit better than other teams when you push it the way they have as of lately, man. They can score and can also defend. They are, as I said a second ago, the comeback kings is what I have. Since week one, and week one wasn't even a bad week for them as far as scoring. But since week one for this offense, which I had first, they are averaging 336 yards of offense a game and 25 points. And this is the other thing. They are 33.9% on third down, though, and have gone for it 4 out of 8 times. On fourth down, 8 times this year. They are a frisky, risky team when it comes down to what they are. Again, third down, not that great, 33.9%. Which is also why they have gone for it on fourth down 8 times. Think about that. They're not trying to give the ball back, or either they trust their guys a whole lot. Offense starts with the new guy. New guy passing right now ain't his thing. He's 56.9% completion rate on the season. But
32nd in the NFL.
That y'all know that ain't his game right now, though,
No,
is it? That 50, what is it, 56%, 57% really means nothing. He's a chain mover, man, the way you view this guy. 3 touchdowns and 1 interception on the season. Again, taking care of the ball, taking what's in front of him when it comes down to it. He's been sacked 6 times in 3 games, and Gardner Minshew was sacked 5 times in the games that he started. This offensive line, whether it be the mobility of both of those quarterbacks or the fact that they still hadn't gotten it together as a unit to be able to protect 11 sacks within a couple weeks is a whole lot to give up. They have protection issues. He's also, though, and we're speaking about Anthony Richardson, averaging 5.7 yards of rush, and he's a big boy. This is going to be tackled by committee. If you are a DB this week, prepare to throw your face in the fan. That's just how it's got to be this week. He has 4 rushing touchdowns on the ground, but this is the other thing for young quarterbacks or young rookies in general. He's got 2 fumbles on the season, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, try to get that ball out, bang him. And he also, the reason Gardner Minshew started that game against Baltimore was because he had a concussion in the game, too. So, again, he doesn't understand how to get down, although watching last week, he did slide and get down fairly well.
It is interesting that PFF likes their offensive line quite a bit more so far this season than they did at this point last season. And specifically, Ryan Kelly, the center, is ranked by Pro Football Focus as the number 1 center in football so far this year, the former Alabama first-round pick.
Wow, it's going to be fascinating to see how he does against Tierre and Jeff this weekend coming into it, man. But, yeah, 5 sacks with Gardner Minshew back there is pretty bad. Also here, possibility of Jonathan Taylor coming back this week. But this is a rivalry week, so anything's on the table when it comes down to him. I couldn't tell you much about him, but it would be good. I heard Savage say this yesterday on 3HL. It'll be good to go mano-a-mano with him and Derek this week. The establishment of who's the king of rushing when it comes down to the AFC South, that was the biggest conversation last year, and Jonathan Taylor got injured. So I love to kind of see these two go at it this week and kind of put a stake in the ground as far as dominance goes, although I don't think JT will be there next year. But if there's an opportunity for him to play, I'd probably throw that out there. But the main ball total for this team has been Zach Moss. It's 280 yards through 4 games, only a touchdown on the season. They really have running back by committee. Again, there's a few franchises I feel like will not hesitate to say we're not buying all into a single back anymore. I think the Colts is going to be one of those teams. I think the Cowboys is going to be one of those teams. There'll be numerous teams around the league where it's running back by committee, man, and just to keep them at bay and not have bad business decisions moving forward. Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver 1. 245 yards on the season, big body wide receiver also, and he's constantly looking for a breakout year. If he can ever just get the ball in his hand, he can do a lot of damage, man. I like him as a pro. I like him as a wide receiver. He's just been having bad quarterbacks the last couple of years, and now he's got a rookie. That's how you got to kind of look at this one. Fascinating for that offense, though. There's one guy in particular that continually shows up for them. And it's number 1 if you look at the Colts tape. They have a young guy on this team by the name of Josh Downs, man, who wears number 1, who's a smaller scat wide receiver, 5'9" is his height, fast, out of North Carolina, man. And it seems to me he is their Tajay Spears. he's moving the chains. He's down the field. He can take the top off the defense, but he's also lining up in the slot and in the backfield. They move him around to really confuse defenses and create matchups for him. I'm interested to see who covers him because the incorporation or the relationship that him and Anthony Richardson have, you can tell he likes him a whole lot. So I'm going to be very fascinated into what that looks like this weekend. Second-round pick from last year, Alec Pierce, solid chain mover is the way you look at him also. And don't let Mo Alley Cox's size and age fool you. He's efficient as ever when it comes down to their system and how they play. Again, they have a running quarterback. They have a run game style offense. They incorporate all of their tight ends in a major way when it comes down to what they do statistically. You look at their stat line, almost every single tight end on roster has a catch for them. But it also coincides to what their style of play is. They want to abuse you, play action you, and dump off because they have a young rookie quarterback. That's the offensive side of the ball for me.
Interesting on offense, in the run game specifically, Anthony Richardson is the first quarterback in NFL history to have 4 rushing touchdowns in his first 3 career games. He's been a good runner, leads all quarterbacks in rushing on designed run plays with 95 yards, averaging 5.7 yards per carry. Zach Moss at the eye level, at the kind of the surface level, has been good. Only 2.5 yards after contact per rush. That ranks him 55th among all running backs. There is still a higher ceiling, of course, with Jonathan Taylor as the tailback if he's back this Sunday.
I think it's going to be fascinating just with Anthony being such a runner, right? And I could go further down the line in terms of, staying healthy as a quarterback too, with the amount of mobility that he's going to use in his career. But for the Titans, who is a good rush defense, I feel like this could be a different type of challenge too. Because even if you get Jonathan Taylor back and then you have a guy like Anthony who can be mobile, I think that'll be really interesting.
Anthony, to me, I'm not sure he's good, but he's entertaining. I feel like a lot of times with rookie quarterbacks, we make the two the same thing. Anthony Richardson is fun to watch. I'm not sure he's good at football.
Yeah.
He's a good runner, obviously. How far does that get him against a defense like Mike Vrabel, who you're going to see 2 times a year? And I think that's the interesting thing about this defense. Does Mike Vrabel and Shane Bowen have the personnel to make these rookie quarterbacks look like rookie quarterbacks?
Yep.
Because you're going to see a rookie quarterback 4 times this year within your own division between Anthony Richardson and C.J. Stroud.
Looking at the Rams game and the decision-making that he had to make in these games, so of course, they want to run him because he's capable of running too, but they bit on it so fast, man. His ability to bail and run, though, is crucial.
Yeah.
You better be able to close on him this weekend because the extension of moving the chains the same way Deshaun Watson did certain portions of that game, you do not need. And again, this team is going on the road and need a road victory.
Yeah, I just have a hard time seeing a quarterback with 56% completion percentage that's 32nd in the NFL being able to do enough to consistently win games. In order for him to be a legit quarterback in this league, he's going to have to be around, 65%?
65. I give him even 63, 62 plus.
And 3 games is a small sample size, obviously. The clock doesn't start on a rookie quarterback until, year 3, really?
Yeah.
In
3.
some context, unless you're just really, really terrible. So he's got time to figure that out. But right now, he's entertaining and he's kind of a wild card. And the Colts are playing well because of it. But how long can you really sustain that? I don't know the answer to that.
Me either. And also for you offensive line, defensive line buffs, make sure y'all check out Quentin Nelson and Big Jeff this weekend because the one between him and Aaron Donald was good too. So
that matchup's gone Big Jeff's way quite a bit.
And Aaron Donald winning right now in this tape I'm watching.
Yeah.
Another thing the Titans will have to worry about right now, Indianapolis is 3rd in red zone scoring percentage at 72%. Now, that's not going to get any better after they announced yesterday that Jelani Woods would not be practicing this week. They're big-ass tight end, quasi-offensive lineman, so that's good. He didn't really hurt the Titans too much last year. I think he had 2 or 3 catches in 2 games against the Titans, but that's a thing that Anthony Richardson lends himself to. Being such a good scrambler probably helps them in the red zone. So I wonder how the Titans match up
I agree.
with them in the tight quarters this week.
And one more thing on that, too, before we get to the defense, Ramon. Anthony Richardson ranks 34th in the NFL in average time to throw. So certainly a different category than what the Titans saw in Joe Burrow last week, where Joe Burrow is 5th fastest to throw the football with an average of 2.3 seconds. Anthony Richardson ranks 34th at 2.91 seconds from the time he gets the football to releasing it. So that might be an advantageous aspect of this matchup.
So I was just going to say, you can get home, but make sure you close on him. Got to close him in because he is athletic enough to move around you. Here we go. Defense real quick, man. Their defense is giving up actually 24.8 points a game, too. That is a lot of points for this team, man. But here's the thing. Third down, only giving up 38.7% on the season. They hold you well when it comes down to it. And it's, the other side of that is they have been scored on in the red zone 8 out of 12 times. That's a high mark for teams going up against them. I will say this, 3.8 yards per carry in the run. They're kind of stout, but I'm also seeing this LA Rams team kind of move the ball on them efficiently. Double teams will be huge because they have thick-bodied guys up front, kind of the way Cincy does. If their combo blocks are the same this week as it was last week, they should be fine. Don't be in a hurry to get to the second level is what I would tell this group, man. But let's start with the guy in the middle, man, DeForest Buckner. Still him. Lines up everywhere. He lines up the same way Big Jeff does and Harold does and T.J. Watt does and Chris Jones does. Those and Myles Garrett. Those guys have a thing now where they line up and try to find a weak link or just try to plow down your face, man. He's still good. Long body, long arm dude. He is one of those guys, and I would openly admit, gave me trouble because of his long arms. Mm-hmm. I hate long arm guys. Watching this one this week, just got to say it. If he does play, Peter, replace.
Yeah.
Stick and replace, man, is what you're looking for this week. And even Dylan Radins, too. Heck, for that case, Aaron Brewer. Grover Stewart, also big-time run stopper for this team, but does get after the quarterback himself. He's been underrated for a little while. I admire this guy. He plays hard, man. It's a great compliment to DeForest Buckner. On the other side of things, too, Kwity Paye finally seems to be coming into his own. He does. 3 sacks on the season already. Samson Ebukam. Ebukam?
Yep.
That's not what I said. Well, okay, it's cool. Well, either way, with him, Ebukam.
I've got it in front of me.
Okay, has 2 sacks on the season, 5 quarterback pressures. They get after the quarterback. It's not just those 2 guys, but they are good at it. And then up the middle, too, Shaq Leonard and Zaire Franklin, both solid linebackers that will blitz. They are not afraid to be physical, and they are solid. The back end, when you got those front 7, plays his part very well, man. I said this. As I just said a second ago, there's money to be made in the running game against this defense. They don't get off blocks well, and they will blitz you just to stop the run. There will be run lanes there. It's a matter of taking care of the first level first when it comes down to this defense.
Can I ask you something real quick? Out of all the defense they faced, is this probably the one that's the most less intimidating or less intimidating?
No, I'd go Browns. I'd go Indy right
in
now.
terms of front.
In terms of fronts and how they play and blitz you very opportunistic type of team.
Okay.
They are.
Is this the worst defense the Titans have seen this year?
Points-wise, I would say so. And that's because they've had 2 overtime games, too.
There you go.
Right.
Coming up, a good breakdown there from Ramon. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you.
Taking us in the film room. Coming up, there is one team looking for a wide receiver that I don't know if they should be looking for a wide receiver. One of the stranger owners in the NFL is a part of one of the just stranger front offices in the league. We'll dive into that coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I'm here to tell you guys that when Hiller comes out to your house, you can trust them, okay? Just simply put, and I'll lead off with this. Their slogan, I don't see many companies that's willing to say this, is happy you'll be or the service is free. That's putting you, the customer, in front of all things that you believe in or other companies, okay? Service is free is what they'll do if you're not satisfied. And right now, if you have some things around your home that you've been putting off, fixing like your HVAC, regular maintenance, or clogged bathroom drain, Hiller has some big discounts for you this month. When the temperatures drop and you start using your heater for the first time, you don't want to be dealing with breakdowns and issues. This month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-ups And Hiller's also bringing back their $99 drain cleaning special for just $99, as I just told you. Hiller will get you back up and running, but these deals only last this month. Again, best guarantee that any company has is happy you'll be or the service is free. So if you have any issues around your house involving plumbing, heating, cooling, or electrical, reach out to the friends that I trust at happyhiller.com.
Wednesday morning at RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up in 15 minutes, one big-time player is back for an AFC contender. Talk about that as another London game is upcoming for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And a look into how much the offense should rely on Kyle Phillips. Should he be able to go in Indianapolis this weekend? We'll dive into that before talking with Nate Washington, former Titan, at 8:20 this morning. Speaking of wide receivers, guys, thought this was a very interesting tweet from Jordan Schultz of The Score yesterday, who says the Panthers are not only looking to trade for a wide receiver, but they want a number one caliber guy, saying this is their top priority right now because the organization is capitalized all in on Bryce Young. Have we seen enough from Bryce Young to be confident enough to say that we are all in on him yet? I don't think he's been very good.
I don't think they have a choice. At this point,
Well, their choice is not give up draft capital when you already gave up draft capital to get Bryce Young. That's your choice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have a choice but to try to sell out and get it. Like, I look at the way, I guess, Tepper and his group are running this team is if they come in with an outside bag of money to say they want to operate in ways that other teams haven't. This is out of – I never expected them to be able to do this. Yes, you got what you think is the generational guy, but you don't throw everything into the pot as it stands right now to go get it. But the 0-4, they got a very ambitious owner when it comes down to what he want to do. That's just a lot to give up to find a guy like that. Teams will take you to the woodshed if you're asking for a guy like that. Imagine. There's absolutely no way. But he has no choice. He want to win right now.
Well, I don't think that as an owner in terms of just the state of the landscape right now, they're kind of rebuilding everything. I mean, they've been a crap show. And now you think you've got your franchise quarterback. That's great. But to go try to get a number one receiver right now, starting 0-4, I don't know the percentages on teams that start 0-4, but a lot of them aren't going to the playoffs. I'll tell you that much. And in my eyes, why don't you just wait to see how this plays out? Go get your receiver in the draft. Keep building your team, but to me, it doesn't logistically make sense.
No 0-5 team has ever made the postseason.
Okay.
Tough.
And they are 0-4 with a chance to go 0-5 this weekend.
So weird timing.
One thing about the Panthers is since Scott Fitterer and David Tepper have been involved over there, they have been one of the more reactionary teams in the league. And to come out here and spam that, we need to get a number one receiver. This feels very Chicago Bears-ish last year, where they gave up a second-round pick for Chase Claypool, and now he's inevitably not on their team anymore. They're either going to release him or trade him. Do you guys remember when they traded for Stephon Gilmore? I think they were 3-3 or 2-3 early in the season, and the expectations inside that building were that they were a playoff team, and they needed a little push. Inside that building, they always have greater expectations than the outside world, than the real world that we all live in. And you see that through their quarterback carousel through the first 3 years of Matt Rule. You see that through their grabbiness and free agency, where they didn't have the picks to draft the guys they needed, so they had to go out and get a bunch of veterans, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Hayden Hurst. This is just a reactionary franchise who is going to constantly be playing catch-up if they keep making moves like this, putting themselves behind the 8 ball. We have to do this now. We have to do this now. It's a long season.
It is.
You also drafted a wide receiver, Jonathan Mingo, pretty highly. That maybe you want to see what that guy has, maybe try to develop that guy and see if he could potentially be a 1 or a 2. But the entire offseason, they continue to bungle things. They don't get a first-round pick for Christian McCaffrey, who looks like a potential MVP candidate. They don't trade Brian Burns for 2 first-round picks and a second, and now they can't get a long-term extension done. Instead of trading Derek Brown to the Bears, they elect to trade DJ Moore, who was their number 1 receiver. Yep. They just continue to bungle themselves into situations and then wonder, why are we in a bad situation? You got to look at yourself in the mirror and realize why these situations arise.
And then the off football stuff too, or the non-football stuff too. I mean, look at him pulling out of the Rock Hill, Carolina situation. You know, they had to pay $20 million because they had started building a new facility in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and just abruptly said he don't like it and quit it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He had a lot. Oh, yeah. There's been a lot going on with Carolina. But, I mean, even after the old ownership.
Leading receivers for Carolina so far this year, Adam Thielen with 287 yards, DJ Chark with 129, and Terrace Marshall with 114. Andy Dalton has looked better than Bryce Young at quarterback for the Panthers, too.
And the bad situation for them is their offensive line kind of imploded. They had a high pick in Ike Ekwonu, who's not panning out at left tackle. It's too early to move him to guard, but also their starting guard that they spent a lot of money in free agency 2 years ago, Austin Corbett, has been on injured reserve. So their offensive line is just kind of caving in around itself, and that's not conducive to a rookie quarterback hitting any kind of ceiling.
It's just weird. They want to be in win-now mode, but any team with a rookie left tackle is not in win-now mode.
Not when the rest of the old line has question marks too.
Unless you have a transcendent talent who can step in immediately year one and be a dude, you will always have growing pains at left tackle as much as you will at quarterback, and they have both at the same time.
And I don't think just having a wide receiver one come in, whoever that even might be, will fix anything.
Can't throw it if he on his back.
They also don't have a running back. Go out and spend a lot of money on Miles Sanders and give him a 4-year, $25 million contract.
It's a weird contract.
Very weird. I think he got the longest contract of any free agent running back this offseason. Like, you love that guy so much you want to polish him up, but then you don't have anybody to throw the ball to.
Coming up, how much should the Tennessee Titans offense rely on Kyle Phillips once he returns? Is there a specific role that he needs to be occupying going into the Titans wide receiver room once again? Plus some NFL headlines, halftime of the show with Nate Washington coming up at 8:20. That and more on deck on RKW.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for the Wang Vision Institute. I've always kind of put off my eye health. Everything else, good on. Doctor's appointments, good on. But something about vision kind of scares me sometimes. So I finally went into the Wang Vision Institute a few weeks ago, and they did everything in terms of testing on me. Really put me in the right direction for my vision health and for the future of my vision. And it's a great place. They treat you well there. They're going to give you everything you need to know. And they make you feel comfortable. What's also impressive about them is they also do things beyond the eyes. So maybe you're looking at, your skin and rejuvenating it. They have actually introduced the intense pulsed light treatments. It's a non-invasive cosmetic procedure that honestly does not hurt. I'm going in to get some more done here now that the winter months are here and the sun's going down, but it's highly effective. It addresses various skin concerns of women and men, and you can visit the Vision Institute, wangvisioninstitute.com for more information. Maybe you're struggling with that sun damage. You see those age spots kind of pop up, or redness, uneven skin tone. The IPL treatments are definitely the way to go. Little to no downtime. You can visit wangInstituteVision.com to schedule your free consultation and treatment today. So don't forget, it is wangvisioninstitute.com. Your skin will thank you for the long-lasting results.
What's going on? 8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Tennessee Titans are in the market for another running back and are going to consider a familiar face to fill that void. Titans hosted running back Jonathan Ward on a workout yesterday. Ward appeared in 3 games for the Titans last season, playing mostly on special teams. He had a good shot to be their number 3 running back coming out of training camp, but suffered a knee injury in week 1 of the preseason that led to him being waived with an injury designation, reverted to injured reserve, and then eventually got a injury settlement that would allow him to play in 2023. Now he's vying for a spot on the Titans practice squad. Houston Texans left guard Kendrick Green suffered a torn meniscus in his right knee against the Pittsburgh Steelers and is now expected to be out indefinitely. Titans traded a 2025 6th-round pick to the Steelers for Green after their first-round pick from the previous year, Kenyon Green, suffered a season-ending shoulder injury in the final preseason of the game against the New Orleans Saints. Kendrick Green started 3 games for the Texans on the left side after injuries decimated the group. Last night in the wild card games, the Rangers blanked the Rays 4-0. Twins beat the Blue Jays 3-1, and in the NL wild card, Diamondbacks took down the Brewers 6-3. Phillies filled the Marlins 4-1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show on a Wednesday morning edition of RKW. We are brewed by 8th and Roast, and when the studio smells like fresh ground coffee, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Got a bag of beans from Guatemala. You can get that. You can get a ton of different options, whether you are a dark roast, medium roast, decaf roast. I'm going to judge you if you're a decaf roast,
Yes.
but you can still be that if you want to. You can head to 8th and Roast on 8th. On Charlotte, in the airport, if you're flying out, cultivating coffee and community by the cup. 8th and Roast. We appreciate them as our new title sponsor with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. In 20 minutes, Nate Washington will stop by.
Uncle
Awesome.
Nate, man. Yay.
Nate Dogg.
Yeah,
Nate
looking forward
Dogg.
to a conversation with Nate, man. It's been a while.
Yeah. Interested to hear his perspective on some of these receivers, too, including
Yeah.
Kyle Phillips.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're getting into this conversation with Kyle Phillips, or on Kyle Phillips, not with him, coming up in just a minute. Elsewhere in London, guys, Von Miller expected to be back this weekend for the Buffalo Bills as they circle the wagons across the pond against the London Jags.
I'll take it,
Yeah.
man. You said the London Jags.
I did say the
Seriously,
London
at what point, right?
Jags. 2 straight games in London.
Yeah.
That team did its thing against Miami last weekend. You getting Von back, and there's the thing: Von's coming in as a mercenary only,
Yep.
rush specialist, man, disruptor, somebody you're gonna have to keep your eyes on at all time. That dude is phenomenal, and Buffalo sold out to get him, and they're looking for some return finally on him, man.
How long do you think it takes him to get ramped up after this injury?
About 2-3 weeks is what I'd say.
Yeah.
About 2-3 weeks. That's why the London game will probably just get his beak wet a little bit, and they could just continue to stack and go. They're wanting Von for late December, January, and February football.
Yeah, he tore his ACL on Thanksgiving in that win over the Lions last year.
So, it's
So
been
that was
less
week
than a
12.
year. Okay.
Yeah, I remember when it happened. It's like, God, I look like they were just about to get hot, and
Yeah.
now here they are again. Buffalo
I
has
knew.
been
I thought
snake
that
bit.
was Slade
Oh,
Austin.
that's
Damn
it.
it. Yee. How my dog doing, man?
Look at this.
Oh,
Wow.
look, breakfast
Little
this
Santa
morning.
Claus
That's
coming in
oh,
here
okay.
today.
Man, he had flip-flops walking
Bringing
in here.
treats.
Oh, Ronald Sylvester.
Well, maybe because he didn't come in here yesterday. He had to make some appearance today.
He did. I don't even know why he's down here. Ain't no telling what Ron Slade
I
got
know.
going
He's
on.
up to something.
Always up to something.
Busiest man in showbiz.
My client's business is his own.
Oh!
Attorney-client privilege still
Sorry,
applies.
Bert.
It's crazy.
Maybe he heard there was 8th and Roast that was being freshly brewed in the kitchen and decided to come in and get some.
Could probably smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It smells fantastic.
He's
fantastic.
not a coffee drinker
I was going to say,
at
does
all,
Slay
though.
drink coffee?
Not even.
Okay.
With that level of energy, he doesn't need it.
No.
No, he would go to a coffee shop and order hot chocolate.
It's like
Yeah.
putting diesel in a Ferrari.
That's fair. That's fair.
Awesome.
Mike in Cleveland is on the phone line, 615-737-1045. Good morning, Mike.
What up? What up, y'all?
Hey,
Good
Mike,
morning,
I
Mike.
told you your pastor would shut his mouth quick. Because what happened?
The good Lord is
he ain't got
not going to
nothing
be happy with
say
that one.
now. Hey, man. Hey, all I know is we came alive with that last game. The Titans came alive with that last game. We needed that one, man, for real. Hey, Mo.
Yeah.
I seen a picture of you, dog. I seen a picture of you, man. You went from big ragu to just ragu, man. You looking good out here, bro. You
We can-
looking good,
We
man.
continually
I'm happy
working,
for you.
Mike. Hey, you got to unbig our backs, man.
Hey, I hear you, man. Because you went, you went from a B cup to an A cup. I'm still at a D. I'm trying to get like you, man.
Hey,
Proud
keep
of you,
working,
bro.
Mike.
You know?
Keep working, my brother. You'll get it.
I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm working. Hey, yo, but I was calling because, we got a resident, Little Ponies fan in the chat. And, he always just, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm gonna just call him Sack Lunch. That's what his name is going to be this week. Sack Lunch. Okay? And if you know him, then you know he works with dead bodies, and you know his team is a dead body. Okay? We done shot him. We done took him out past the barn. All we got to do is make sure that the Titans stay alive, and that we go get this dub, and Sack Lunch can just be a Sack Lunch, and that's it, man. And I just wanted to call and just let you know it's time to tighten up, and them ponies ain't doing nothing. Ain't doing nothing. So, yeah, y'all stay good, man.
You too.
Thank
Pony
you,
meat,
Mike.
a delicacy
Look at
in certain
that.
That
countries.
would be for Zach in the F&M Bank chat. Who's always lurking the second you say anything negative about the Colts.
He is, man. But he's a Vols fan, so he's accepted to certain cookouts, not all the cookouts on Sunday. He cannot come to.
Yeah, Mike, though, is correct that when it comes to the Titans playing in Indianapolis, Titans have been the father in that relationship.
They've been Papa. They've been Big Papa.
Derrick Henry has been the father to Jonathan Taylor.
They are looking for their 6th straight win against the Colts.
6 straight?
You got it.
Is it even a rivalry?
And 5th
now?
straight in Indy.
Woo-wee.
Ursay. I just want to lay eyes on Ursay this weekend. See how disgusted he is
Would you
or
have a
is
chat
not
with
going
him?
to be. Would I chat with?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love y'all know I'll talk to a wall. Okay. So me talking to Ursay, he gonna give me some gems is what I'm telling you, man. No pun intended. Get it?
Slim Jims.
Give me some gems.
Jim Irsay.
Jim Ursay.
Yeah. I got it. I just
You got
chose
it.
not to laugh.
Virginia Slims?
That's the second time this happened, Kayla. You know what? That's the end of my dad joke career. It's over. I tried.
Sweet.
It's not sweet.
Anything else?
I bet Jim would laugh at a dad joke.
He would. He would, Kayla. Absolutely. My dad jokes are fire.
Kyle Phillips will be back in the huddle this weekend. Speaking of players who are, we expect him to be back. He's back on the practice field with the Titans. We have no knowledge of him being back or not, but I feel like you can read between the lines that there's a good shot Kyle is back in two-tone blue this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
As the Titans head to Indy. What is a reasonable expectation? What does his role need to be in his return?
Man, if he got 3 catches just for like 20 yards and all of them are moving the chains, good. Everything coming his way, you need to be able to bring it in. That's what I'm looking for out of him. And if he's going to be punt returning this week, no fumbles, baby. That's priority number 1 right there is no fumbles inside that dome, looking into those lights. And as high as that ball's going to go, let's move in the right direction on that one because Mason Kinsey had a day. I think that's the expectation. Same thing Mason had going on last week in the punt return department.
And with Mason Kinsey waived, I would believe that it looks like Kyle Phillips will be that returner in terms of the punt game at least. And you're right. Just take care of the football. Don't try to do too much, I should say, in your first game back. when it comes back there. Just protect the football, I think, is the biggest thing we look for in special teams. Now, in terms of wide receiver, anything right now is good to add to this offense and add to the creativity of it. So third down option, I like that too. He's a little bit more of a speedy, shifty guy. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Tim Kelly uses him for the first time in a game. If he is able to play
him, but also the incorporation of the two young guys, Tajay and him. One thing for sure, the motions of this offense pre-snap would be good to see from those two dudes if Tim Kelly is into those types of things for the rest of the season.
I think for Kyle Phillips specifically, pick one thing and be really good at it. I said it in preseason. I didn't want him returning punts because I want him to pick one thing and be good at it. What did he do returning punts? He got hurt.
He's gotten hurt a couple times back there.
I don't think he needs to be returning punts at all for this team. Play slot receiver. Which is more important to you for Kyle Phillips to be on the field for? Offense or special teams? For me, it's offense.
For me, it's offense too. I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to put him back there again.
For me, it's special teams.
It is special teams?
It is special teams for me.
Why is that?
Because he has a playmaking ability at that. He gets vertical real fast, and his role offensively is not going to be big enough. It's not going to be bigger than his special teams role. We're asking him to be a third down guy, basically, offensively, or second and short. I think you find other options in those situations right there before you find another option at punt return. Just my opinion.
Sure.
I like what he's going to provide offensively. I'm not discounting that, but I'm also saying his role of getting vertical fast, especially when I hate to even keep saying this, but fire a guy like Mason, I mean, the instant response needs to be worth it. Definitely.
He just needs to be durable. Let's just say that. Can we put that out there?
Yeah, get back on the plane with no assistance. Yeah. Facts.
Coming up next, Titans wide receiver Nate Washington stops by. What does he like the most about this team right now? And what makes an unheralded Titans player so good? We'll get the breakdown on Nick Westbrook-Akine and his play over the past few weeks as well from Nate Washington, who joins us coming up next.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We're afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It can be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or it may be a small problem that'll become bigger later, or maybe nothing at all. Bottom line is we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we do not need. What we need is a peace of mind. And United Structural Systems is the company to give you that. They have over 25,000 100% satisfied residential customers. And here's how they make that happen, okay? When USS comes out to your house, you're going to get a problem solver that can provide a peace of mind to the customer. That's you, the homeowner. You're not going to get someone who's worried about meeting a sales quota or upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. At USS, their only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is and not a closing ratio. Homeowners trust USS. They've been keeping homes dry and stable for over 25 years. They guarantee their best every single time. USS serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. You can reach them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone, previewing Titans and Colts this weekend. Titans looking to get their 5th straight win in Indy. We've got a full crew ready to go this morning with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. Joining us now on the phones, he is the one and only Nate Washington, stopping by for a few minutes this morning. What's up, Nate? How are you?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Kayla, Will, my guy, Moan. How y'all doing?
What's up, Nate Dog?
Nate? What's going on, baby?
Nah, y'all got it, man. I'm just surviving.
You thriving out here, Nate. Stop playing. You thriving out here.
Nate, first of all,
I do what I can, Moan.
I got to start with, I know you were tweeting about it as well. Our guy Keith Bullock pumping up the crowd at the start of the fourth quarter. You saw the video. How would you assess Keith's performance as the hype man with the microphone on Sunday?
Well, I need to know what he said. From the looks of it, I had to make sure he wasn't out there on his Marshall Mathers trying to get the crowd together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen him raising his hands, and it was on the mic. And I know they normally come out there and do the whole sword in the ground thing, but I wasn't expecting him to have a mic in the hand. Mm-hmm. So I need to know what my guy was saying, so I make sure he was on point.
And maybe most importantly, we got to get you up next for this because Jarrell Casey did it week 2 against the Chargers. It's a new thing. Like, in addition to the 12th Titan, they're having someone, a former player, with the microphone come out and basically talk trash to the other team and pump up the crowd. Nate, like, I feel like this is a good fit for you.
And next home game is against the Falcons, so you can just jump on their plane.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'll say this. I don't know if Arda put me in the plane.
Fair enough.
Put me in a cargo part and bring me over.
Fair enough. Nate Washington with us this morning. Nate, on the field, what do you like the most about this Titans team right now? A lot to like at home, not quite as much to like in their road performances. How would you kind of grade them through 4 games?
Well, I'm giving the defense an A. Hands down. I think this defense is obviously going to have to be the catalyst to be the foundation of this team to, project them into a winning record. I think they've been doing an outstanding job. The defensive line, obviously, that front 7 in itself. Azir has been flying to the ball. That has definitely excited me to finally see, we have a new linebacker after the Wesley Williard days that is flying to the ball, making plays, being accountable in the run game. I love his play. The secondary is, Sean Murphy-Bunting is doing exactly what I thought he would do. He's being that guy on that right side that we haven't had in quite some time, and he's making some plays as well. Obviously they've given up a couple big plays here and there, but, they've been solid on the back end and been doing exactly what I expected that defense to do, be the foundation of this team. Now, moving over to this offense, I think we had a rough, shaky start, to the season. But this last game, I was seeing some promising things. I was seeing, the offensive line settling in. There were a couple plays that they gave Ryan some good time and some ability to sit back there and go through his progression and his reads to get the ball to the right guys. I seen the receivers making the plays that they need to make. I think everybody in Nashville may have had a question about this receiving core moving into this season and what they were going to do. I think, I was never expecting them to be an over-the-top group. I was never expecting them, with all due respect, and I hope they don't take this disrespectfully, but I wasn't expecting them to have a Pro Bowler out of that room, but I definitely was expecting them to do their job. And I feel like they're starting to do that. That receiver core, Chig, he's catching the ball very well. I wish we would stop running so many screens with him, and use him more downfield. But, the situation is what it is, So I think everybody's doing, what their job is in that room and blocking downfield and doing a great job. And as much as I hate to see it, I definitely even am settling into the usage of how they're using Derek and Spears together. I think in the first couple games, it was appalling to see how much Derek wasn't on the field, wasn't getting the touches that he needed. But, watching and continuing to watch, I think this would do nothing but pan out great for Derek in late November, December, and January football. I think this will allow him to thrive in those moments. Allowing Tajay to go out there. Spears to go out there and do what he's been doing, and giving a kind of offset beat to going in and not just looking like that big guy coming out the backfield. You know, he's been doing a good job of running the ball. Had me nervous as I don't know what when he dropped that sweep, but he made something out of it and made 22 yards. So, but I like to see what's going on, and it's seeming like this offense is starting to settle in to an identity of, you know, mixed run game and just being accountable in the pass game. And that's all you really can ask for them.
No doubt, Nate. When you look at this squad, too, man, I've kind of said this a little bit. At some point, with, you know, Traylon missing last week and watching D-Hop do work, he can move the chains. I think you said that when he first came on with us. But there's another guy in that conversation that's been steady Eddie, too, man, and that's Nick Westbrook-Akine. Nate, as a guy that's an undrafted like yourself, and he is, too, man, how excited are you for him? And also this. With what he's built so far, why not keep going to him?
Yeah, well, I think unfortunately, you know, they might not just see him as the guy with the pizzazz to take over control over that number 2 spot or number 1 spot in Traylon's absence, actually to go to. Unfortunately, I think, you know, obviously, as you stated, being an undrafted guy and, you know, fighting every inch and nail to get the opportunities that I had in Pittsburgh, you know, at some point you're going to have to give him an opportunity to be a go-to guy, not just be a part of the progressions in the offense. You know, he's doing a great job of catching the ball. He does a great job of making the plays that come to him. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but in the same sense, you know, I've seen tons of guys, you know, have scripted plays put in for their progression in the offense, and they just never turn the leaf. It never turns over for those guys. So I think at some point they're going to have to realize that they have a reliable guy in Nick. You know, he's going to have to definitely be a part of these third down packages. And as I stated, I'm not just talking about being a part of the play. I'm talking about, you know, being the number 1 option, being the guy that they're looking to either move those chains or score in a low red zone. You know, it seems like he's always put in an opportunity to create separation and be reliable for Ryan. And that's the kind of guy that you want on the field and kind of guy you want being first or second in your options, your progressions in these plays, because he's always going to be reliable for Ryan.
Well, how good is it also, Nate, to kind of see legs and branches kind of grow from what Tim Kelly's offense started as, man? You're seeing a lot of different things, motions. You're seeing Tajay and Derek out there at the same time. You're seeing them go down the seam with a big tight end, you know, and Josh Whyle, man. How exciting is that to actually see this cultivate itself into something better than what we've seen in years past?
No question. Well, let me say this. Tim is my guy. He was actually also with my experience at Houston with Vrabel, and Tim is my guy. He was a great guy, real down-to-earth guy. So when he came and, you know, it wasn't looking exactly the way we as Titans fans wanted it to look with this play caller. You know, I was nervous. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to become another one of the catalysts like the fans, you know, wanting to get him out of there and complaining about his play caller. So I'm glad that he's found his sea legs and he's coming along with, you know, understanding what type of talent he has on that offensive side of the ball, what would be the best way to approach, you know, getting them on touches and getting them in the groove, allowing that offensive line to find a sync up front with you know, their pass game and doing the things that they've been doing. It's great. You know, it's great that he's finding a way to not only implement his philosophy with what he wants to accomplish with the offense, but also doing what's best with the talent that he has. You know, incorporating Spears into this run game and to this pass game out of the backfield has been tremendous. You know, he's been doing a good job of, as you stated, finding tight ends up the seam and doing a lot of those things. And with this receiver core that was under speculation for so heavily in the preseason and in the spring, you know, I think he's finding a way to utilize those guys. So Tim's doing a good job. You know, we're 4 weeks in. I think, you know, you obviously have to give guys time to settle into their roles. but I think it'll do nothing but get better the more the season goes along. I think he'll find ways to start using guys as utility options that can be a change-up for this offense to keep defenses on their heels.
Nate Washington joining us now on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And Nate, they will be getting another guy back in that wide receiver room real soon, maybe even this weekend. We're talking about Kyle Phillips. We were kind of debating on this show, Nate. Do you continue to utilize him in the return game? Because that's where he's kind of not been so consistent. He's bobbled the ball a lot. He's had his injuries back there. Or do you have to say, if he's on the roster, you got to utilize him back there? And then obviously, what's his role as a wide receiver in this offense?
Well, I mean, they've kind of put him in a position that where they're going to need to rely on him. To be honest with you, looking at that receiver room, I'm pretty sure that there's guys that can play multiple positions. But when you think idealistic slot receiver guy, that's who you want to be your guy. Phillips, I can pretty much assure you when they brought him on the roster, that's definitely what they were looking for him to do. Be the slot guy, be the return, kick return, punt return guy. So these things that, that he's had issues with, dropping punts and, not being reliable in the kickoff return game, and also not, in my opinion, not living up to his quickness and the utility of him being a slot guy. I think he's going to have to turn the corner on that. That is his position with this Titans group. I think that's where he'll be best utilized, and it'll be up to him. Unfortunately, I do feel like Vrabel is the type of guy that if he does not turn the leaf, this may be his last tenure. I know Vrabel, firsthand comes from, an organization playing for in New England with Bill Belichick where, they have tryouts every single Monday for every single position. Bill Belichick doesn't care if he has 3 to 5 Pro Bowlers in that linebacker room. On Monday, you're going to see him working out 2 linebackers every single Monday. So I can only imagine the approach that Vrabel has towards, the significance of what a guy actually brings and an idea. I couldn't imagine him wasting more time on potential. So, obviously Phillips is going to have to turn the leaf. He's going to have to come around and begin to make plays, because I do believe that if that doesn't happen, then Vrabel is not going to continue to take the potential and what he can bring and is going to move him towards the back of the bench.
When it comes to this weekend's matchup, playing their first AFC South battle of the season with the Colts, a team that as of late, Nate, they have dominated. And I know that was a flip from the Andrew Luck days when I came in. But what is it about this Colts team, if you were going to pick out one thing that you'd say, okay, this is going to be a dangerous situation maybe for the Titans?
Well, obviously they've been playing solid on the defensive end. Having Leonard back, having that big defensive line, they've been playing solid up front. I've loved what they've done on the defensive end and being able to get after the ball. I think they're definitely in the top 5 or top 10 of scoring defenses as well. They haven't been giving up too many points besides this Rams game, actually. But prior to that, they've been doing pretty well keeping the opposite team out of the end zone. So their defense is going to be well. But I think the thing that actually has catapulted them and has, given this Coach team some resurgence is actually Richardson. I think everybody was expecting him to come in and be solid, but he's coming in, him and Stroud are coming in and playing above expectations, in my opinion. I think, everybody was expecting them to be, good players at this point, but they're coming in and they're competing. And when you have young guys like that at that quarterback position coming in with fire, willingness to compete, you're going to find a team that's going to go out and fight every single Sunday. I think a lot of speculation about the Jonathan Taylor absence was going to hurt them, but, with his ability to run, Richardson's ability to run and create some things, with his legs as well as his arm, I think that's created an off-balance set for opposing defenses that they just weren't ready for. So I think he's been doing a good job. I think Richardson is actually the key point for the Titans moving into this weekend, that they're going to have to be prepared for. You know, you're playing a young guy, and I think a lot of times defensive coordinators like to take advantage of young guys' knowledge of, you know, when they go into the pass game, you know, whether it's an offset blitz, whether it's an unusual coverage, something that, you know, you may be able to throw in a wrinkle for a young guy to go out there and make mistakes. But when you got a guy like Richardson over there across the ball from you, you know, a lot of times his mistakes will be made right by his legs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he may draw back a lot of times and you may confuse him, but his ability to move, you know, and create rushing yards with his legs is definitely going to be something the Titans are going to need to be ready for.
Nate Washington, our guest this morning here on RKW. Nate, what have you seen from DeAndre Hopkins so far this year? How has he met or exceeded or just how has he performed compared to the expectations you would have had for him coming into the season?
I don't think for me personally, it wasn't a physical thing for me. It wasn't about whether he was going to come in and have 1,000 yards and 10+ touchdowns. You know, I definitely wasn't expecting that. I just needed to see the fortitude in his attitude and his emotion toward the game, you know, his want to. I wanted to make sure that, you know, he wasn't just out there going through the motions and, in all honesty, just getting another check on his way out. You know, I didn't want that for this Titans organization nor fan base. I'm not saying that he was that type of guy. I just know, you know, guys can get to the latter part of their careers and unfortunately turn that lead, but that's not what I see from him. I see a guy that's wanting the ball. I see a guy that's engaged in the, you know, structure of the offense. When they're going back, I see him communicating with Ryan. I see a guy that's locked in, and that's what I needed from him, me personally, because I knew, you know, physically his talents were going to dwindle. You know, your speed dwindles, your ability to separate dwindles, and I knew that he wouldn't be the same player physically that he would, you know, be at other places. But I knew if we would get a guy to come in with a good attitude, winning the league, still be engaged with the team, still have a want to of getting the ball, I knew that he would be a good pickup for this team because, as I stated, and I think it was on this show, as I stated in the summer, I wasn't expecting him to be a number one receiver. In all honesty, I really wasn't even expecting him to be a number two. I just didn't think that, you know, what he had physically at this point was going to be good enough for this team to be for this offense, to be what they needed to be. But he's engaged, man. He's doing exactly what he needs to be doing. He's accountable in the real third down game.
Yep.
He's actually blocking. I know how he's actually blocking. So he's been doing a good job, man. This guy, only thing that I would love to see, you know, being utilized a little more, obviously, but it's been going so well with them utilizing the other guys, is his ability in the low red zone, you know. But we found so much good ways of, you know, even the jump pass this weekend of using different guys in different sets with different opportunities in the low red zone. So there's really no complaining there. But, you know, he's doing exactly what I hoped he would do. He would be engaged and be willing to add in on the emotion of this team, and he's doing exactly that.
Nate Washington, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will at NWash85. Give him a follow on the artist formerly known as Twitter. Nate, great stuff as always, man. Thank you, sir.
Man, I appreciate you guys. You guys have an awesome day.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it,
Nate.
Nate.
There's Nate Washington. Good info there on DeAndre Hopkins, I think, because it's interesting because I remember talking to him about that in the offseason. And it's something we should revisit later in the week, too, of just our preseason expectations for Hopkins. To me, he's met all of them that I had so far.
Has.
Yes, and to Nate's point, the best thing, he's just been a part of this team.
Right.
100% bought in.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Coming up, interesting stat from PFF Sam Monson he put out on Twitter this morning that I think pertains to the Titans going up against a rookie quarterback this weekend. Interesting stuff we'll dive into coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center who understand choosing a hearing care provider is a big decision. Their number one priority is delivering exceptional patient care, and that starts the minute you walk into that office and continues through your entire hearing journey. They understand at Brentwood Hearing Center that treating hearing loss is an ongoing process that requires regular follow-ups, maintenance, and cleanings to keep you hearing your best. You got to visit BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Remember this phone number, 615-377-0420. Whether you're having trouble hearing in crowded environments, maybe you're at a sporting event and you're not hearing the person in the seat next to you, or maybe it's a family member who isn't hearing you communicate with them as clearly as they used to. Well, Brentwood Hearing Center has been proudly serving Brentwood from the same location for more than 30 years. Give them a call at 615-377-0420. Their website is great as well at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. Wednesday morning rolls on at RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. Right here on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up in 10 minutes, Rhett Bryan will stop by, executive producer of Titans Radio. This morning, you could say we are a bear to deal with. We're John Morant. We're on our Grizzly, Ramon Foster.
Hey, there we go. Or we're Derrick Rose. We're not here to babysit anybody, man.
Look at Derrick Rose all grown
I
up.
have time to be playing with folks. I ain't here to babysit you. I'm here to get right. Hey, Bert, turn that up, man. Gee, what we playing around for? I know we'll get this because who is it?
This is J. Cole and 21 Savage.
J. Cole, the
I said
poet.
that about as white as a human being could, but I don't care.
He is the 21st Savage.
He is, of all the Savages, he is number 21.
He's the 21. You know what? He never has to bring ID to get in the club
Nope.
because he's 21.
Always.
You know,
That's good,
that was better. That was better.
Oh, you better
You're getting better as the show goes on. You're growing.
Oh my God!
If we were calling this as a soccer game, we would say you're growing into the game.
No.
You're growing into the game.
No, absolutely not. We're pros already. Well, don't stop playing, man.
You know that's my favorite rapper, though, J. Cole.
I do
Yeah.
know that. I do know that. I knew that.
I'm going to age all of us a little bit. The 2014 Forest Hills Drive came out when I was in high school.
I remember watching
Nice.
that. It was an ice storm. Well, not an ice storm, a snowstorm on the way to work that morning. 5:15 in the morning, headed to practice. And I put that joint on.
Talk about practice.
Let's go.
We got to get Will to Dreamville.
I need to go
I
to
would
Dreamville.
love that.
Y'all let me know. You ever want to go to my neck of the woods?
Don't tempt me with a good
We
time.
will head
Please
out
don't.
to Dreamville.
Is it legit?
You've been dreaming about it? Oh, your client's in the studio.
Wait,
Oh,
who's
wow.
back
Oh,
there?
Slay's back
What's
there.
going on back there?
We've been having a little powwow before sessions today.
Interesting.
What
I
is
hate
going
whatever
on?
conversation y'all had going on. I don't
just
even know
mad
what
you
y'all
ain't a part
talking
of it.
about.
That's
I
what
am
it
a little
is.
bit. That's like the back porch session right there. I'm a little upset about
In
that.
the F&M Bank chat, Joshua says, boo, you're better than that, Moan. Ramon, your
My
thoughts?
son just texted me and said, "Dad, you get a 7 on that joke."
7 out of what?
Out of 10.
100?
No. You work on a scale of 10.
Got
It's
'em.
okay.
Well, that's decent.
Hey, it might be do it is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, but you're going to tell your kids, though, if you get a 70 on a test, you should be putting in a little bit more time. 70 out of 100 ain't cutting it.
I don't know.
7
Sevens
out
or
of 10
tens
ain't
to me,
cutting.
man.
Depends
Sevens
on
are
our
my
standards.
tens.
Hey, we don't even have to mention grades in our house.
Depends on the
That's
standards.
always at the top. You understand me? It's one thing for sure. We gonna hit them books.
Were you straight Air?
Straight air.
Now
My
you know
kid
your
in the
kids are
car right now.
listening, so-
I was in the beta
Kayla,
club.
ask that question later or earlier.
I was in the beta club all the way up through 9th grade, and then the jock attack hit me at that point. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did. I got to high school.
That's the thing.
And
You gave the speech at graduation.
I did.
You were in the beta club. For all the people that want to make me out as the nerd on this show, respectfully, you were as big a nerd as I was.
Great.
there.
Nerds are cool.
Nerds are great.
They
I'm telling
are.
you, nerds make the world go round.
You know why I embrace that? Because I've seen numerous amounts of idiots be studs at football, basketball, baseball. But you know what happened? They weren't nerd enough. They couldn't go to college. They had to go somewhere else, and then they got washed out real quick. I'm a huge advocate for grades, man. And you can be a cool nerd.
Well, speaking of grades,
can.
Pro Football Focus's Sam Monson, friend of the show, put this out on Twitter a few minutes ago that I think is interesting considering who the Titans are playing in Anthony Richardson coming up on Sunday. He says, through 4 weeks in 2016, his rookie year, Carson Wentz was the best graded quarterback in the NFL, had a 90.7 PFF grade, 5 touchdowns, no picks. He writes, just a little reminder that we still know nothing about any of these rookies, good or bad. 4 weeks is no sample size. And I think that applies to Bryce Young, who has not been great. It applies to C.J. Stroud, who has been great. And it applies to Anthony Richardson, who has completed 56% of his passes, yet is, with the football in his hands as a runner, been outstanding. We have not yet to see how defenses adjust to these guys, and I think especially for teams that are going to see them twice
Right.
this season and have a second opportunity to adjust to Richardson and Stroud. I think that's where it's interesting for the Titans. That's why I had the comment earlier that I still don't think we know if Anthony Richardson is good at football. All we know is he's entertaining to watch.
What I've seen from him is just he's taking whatever's in front of him, point blank period. To your point, you don't know if that's good or bad. Like, it had a tight red zone. You know what he did? He had an option in the flat, and there was a gap right up on the tight red zone. He simply ran it in.
Because he can.
Because he can. He's not even actually taking a beating. Well, I guess you say in Houston he did with the concussion. But That's part of the way he going to play ball until he learn to grow up a little bit more. He gets some mulligan in this season. Essentially how you look at just don't get beat by him this weekend.
Mm-hmm. And he hasn't had Jonathan Taylor, right? I mean, he hasn't had that steady back that they've been able to in the past rely on. He's kind of been doing a lot by himself in terms of the run game. But here's the thing, like Will said, there isn't a ton of tape on him yet. I mean, he didn't play a full game.
Right.
That was Gardner Minshew, who actually came in and played even half of a game for him. So the more that you see defenses adjust, it'll be interesting, like, who is the real Anthony Richardson, right?
Mm-hmm.
How will he continue to develop his game? I'm thrilled to see how the Titans match up against him this
weekend.
weekend.
Say this, don't fall asleep at the wheel, though, in these type of situations. He can make every pass.
Yeah.
He can run out of the pocket. He can do all things a quarterback is capable of doing. You just don't know what it looks like.
Coming up next, Rhett Bryan will join us. Weekly visit with him on a Wednesday morning edition of the show. We got 1 quarter left, ladies and gentlemen. This show plays its best ball in the fourth quarter. We're brewed by 8th and Roast. We are heavily caffeinated and ready to talk more Titans and Colts and potentially get a 5th win in Indianapolis this upcoming weekend consecutively. Rhett Bryan joins us next.
I am now joined by certified arborist Dean Glasscock of Arbor Art Tree and Shrub, teaming now with Save a Tree. And Dean, I know you guys are always just a great company to work for, so many great benefits. And upcoming on October 6th, you guys have got a big hiring event. Tell us more.
Yeah, that's right. If you're interested in maybe getting out of a rut, dead-end job that you may have in the tree industry or whatever, again, it's Arbor Art Tree Care and Save a Tree. We have hooked up. We are partners now. We have been fortified with a great company so we can get out there and serve our clients quicker. We've been behind, and it's just been that way ever since COVID. But things are better. Things are looking up and very promising. So 615-299-9999 for all your tree care, lawn care, shrub care. We can take care of this for you now. Also, October 6th, this coming Friday, Lakewood Baptist Church in Donaldson, we have a hiring event going on and a welcoming to the branch that's joined forces with us. So we want everybody to come out, say hello. We're going to be giving away, or actually you can get 5 CEUs for anybody that's a certified arborist for crane operation and safety. There's going to be games, food all day long until 5 o'clock in the evening. So we want to see you out there. It's Lakewood Baptist Church for Save a Tree. And also just go to careers@saveatree.com. That's all I got for you all. It's a beautiful day. Enjoy it. Thank you.
That's right. Trust the guys and the gals that are trusted. Trusted 29 years of experience there. I can't talk this morning. Dean's got me all frazzled. Don't just call the tree guy. Call Arbor Art Tree and Shrub. Now teaming up with Save a Tree for exceptional service every time. Call 299-9999.
What's going on? 9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Titans are in the market for another running back and are going to be considering a familiar face to fill that void. Titans hosted running back Jonathan Ward for a workout yesterday. Ward appeared in 3 games for the Titans last season, playing mostly on special teams. He had a good shot to be the Titans' number 3 running back coming out of training camp, but suffered a knee injury in preseason week 1 that led to him being waived, hit with an injury designation, reverted to injured reserve. Then he took an injury settlement, so he gets to play. Now has a chance to end up on the Titans practice squad in 2023. A trade that just happened minutes ago in the NFL. The Chargers are sending cornerback J.C. Jackson to the Patriots for a swap of late-round picks per Ian Rappaport. J.C. Jackson signed a 5-year, $82 million contract with the Chargers and just didn't work out. Now ends up back in New England where it all started. Houston Texans left guard Kendrick Green suffered a torn meniscus in his right knee against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday and is expected to be out indefinitely. The Texans traded a 2025 6th-round pick to the Steelers after their 2022 first-round pick. Kenyon Green suffered a season-ending shoulder injury in the final preseason game against the Saints. Kendrick Green started 3 games for the Texans after injuries decimated the left side of their starting line. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And with that, it is the 4th and final hour of your Wednesday morning already. If you blinked, I apologize. You missed a good show this morning with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. Robert Walsh, our producer. It is the 4th quarter of RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast, with locations on 8th Avenue, Charlotte, and at the airport. 8th and Roast Coffee cultivates community by the cup. We are enjoying our 8th and Roast this morning in our new mugs. And as Robert Walsh coined in the break, we are heavily caffeinated and opinionated for 4 hours a morning. Rhett Bryan joins us here today. What's up, Rhett?
I like that. I don't have anything to follow that.
Thank you.
8th and Roast, though, mighty fine.
Can you smell it in here? How good it smells like?
Are you kidding? Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
We're all
enjoy
jacked
it.
up.
That's what got me on the coffee. Was at my grandmama's house. She had the instant coffee. It was Folgers then, but now we got real grinders out here, baby.
Slide over.
Ooh, over Dad's home now.
Let's do the Chris Collinsworth slide out.
Yeah.
The whole roll in he
Yeah.
does.
Yes.
No slide in, slide out.
Slide out,
And
yeah.
guess who's sliding in? 8th and Roast.
That's right.
There we go.
Little Joe in here,
Good
man.
stuff. Fun day in Nissan Stadium on Sunday, Rhett.
Yeah.
I felt good with the win over Cincinnati. What'd you like the most?
The polar opposite of the whole thing. Same score, much different result. The thing that I keep going back to, and you can easily look at the stat sheet and go, yep, Titans dominated, because almost 10-minute difference in time of possession. Yeah, third down conversions versus theirs, total offense, all that. But you know the one that told me the story? So as they were weaving their way down the field at the first drive, and they held them to a field goal, which was great, because that could have gone much differently. They were averaging 7.2 yards per play on offense on that drive. You want to take a guess what they were averaging after that for the whole game? Anybody want to guess?
A much lower number.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. 4.1 yards per play.
Goodness sakes.
For the rest of that game, including the one that they averaged 7.2.
Dang.
That tells you the suffocating style that they just really morphed into for the rest of that whole game. And it's exactly what happened to them with the Browns defense the week before in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. It was.
So,
I think what was fascinating, though, Rhett, is in that game, and no, after that game, man, I think it's good to get that monkey off your back as far as the Cincinnati series, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and maybe let's say this, too. Some people look for the negativity in all things. I thought it should be a bigger celebration of finally beating that team convincingly here. I just thought it was just a regular day at the office, which I get that mindset.
Are you talking about from the organization?
No, just from the base in some sense, you know?
Okay.
And this is not a critique or criticism of them, but I just thought that win against Cincinnati, and I know what it's like to have a tedious foe like that, was good, especially when you can beat a guy like Joe Burrow at your place as bad as it was the last couple times.
Well, and to your point, there should have been a little more over-the-top celebration because Lord knows, if you're a longtime Titans fan, there are very rare occasions where you get in front, separate the score, and it's just cruise control the rest of the way. And kick back and enjoy, and let's give some things to yell about. You know, it's usually tooth and nail and maybe the last play of the game kind of thing. So, I mean, it was never really in question after they took the lead.
Was not. Just all in all, I thought offensively probably their best showing since Green Bay.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, look, the main thing that I thought was important, and just as important as getting Ryan Tannehill some time, and he still took some shots, but was them opening up and making holes and getting the running game going for Derrick Henry. Because when that's working, this other stuff works pretty doggone well. Yeah. And that's what happened in this. And by the way, Derrick Henry, 8,620 yards rushing. He's 1,398 away from the all-time leading rushing record for the franchise. That means he's past the great Eddie George, and he's in the 10,000-yard club. Where's the time gone? Because let me tell you something.
Jeez.
Next week is almost 5 years to the day that we went to London to play the Chargers, and it was a different story for him then. He wasn't even the starter.
Yeah.
And to see where he's come from then, and it was a few weeks after that. It was later on into the season that year in 2018. It was that Thursday night game in December against the Jaguars where he exploded for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns, the 99-yard run. And so I just think about how far that he has come and what he has contributed to this franchise in the time after. It's right up there with all of the greats, most of which are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, PFF has him graded right now as one of the highest graded running backs, right under Christian McCaffrey at 83.6. But he just does so much. You can utilize him in so many ways for being that type of a body. I mean, his 4th touchdown pass. He never ceases to amaze me, this man.
First of all, I didn't have any idea that Big Jeff was a part of their plans on a goal line play. And, man, when Mike said Jeffrey Simmons is entering the lineup, I was like, my grandmother would say, close your mouth, son. Flies will build a nest. Come on. I was like, whoa, I can't wait to see what this is. And I knew it was something crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't know if it involved, directly involved Jeffrey Simmons catching a touchdown. But, yeah, you see that. And here slides Tannehill out to the right, and then he gets in direct snap formation in the pistol in the King Cat, and boom, Josh Wiley, 6'7" target right in the back of the end zone in front of the goalpost. Yeah, love that. So, and listen, I think that's the other thing that gets lost in this win is the performance of the offensive line. Mm-hmm. I mean, Ramon, you got, they allowed 3 quarterback sacks. Yeah, they allowed some hits and pressures.
Yep.
But we've seen worse the week before.
No, we did.
And so not only they were helped generate 400 yards of total offense. You go from 94 yards total offense the week before, and you quadruple that plus some.
Yep.
A lot should be said to those guys left to right. Hats off to you guys. That was a good performance.
And that's where we were, I feel like, coming in on Monday. I wanted to be clear about what I saw in them. Again, was it perfect? No. What you saw was development of combination blocks in the run game. They did a lot better as far as keeping Ryan Tannehill clean. I thought 2 of those 3 sacks were coverage sacks when it all broke down, Rhett. And, of course, when you look at the amount of time they had to let plays develop down the field, too, was also huge. Let's talk about that for a little bit. You get downfield plays because of protections, and they did that well this past weekend. Was it perfect? No. Did that group get better? Yes, so much better that I don't think you'll have NPF into the lineup this week when it comes down to if he gets a hat or not. At least I don't think so. The week
would
has to work his way out, but I don't think so.
I would agree with that just based on one thing, and that's the league giving the Titans and the other guys who had their suspensions reduced in other places a 1-week game exemption that carries through next Monday, the 9th. And, I don't pretend to know their plans, but I would tend to lean towards your theory.
And another thing, too, when it comes down to pressure is a part of being a quarterback and an offensive lineman. Again, we clown Clowney, right? Because, the pressure king can't get home, right? So we can say the same
Clowney,
thing.
the pressure king.
Think about it, though. When it comes to the offensive lineman, that's a negative thing. But if a DN don't get home on pressure, then we criticize that, too. Pressure is a part of it. The quarterback has to trust the pocket, be able to move up and create after the fact. The pressure is coming at these 300-pound men running down the face of other dudes. Like, this is a part of the job. Tell me one offensive lineman that has no pressure.
Well, one, I noticed better blitz pickups around. I saw one, Tajay Spears, he caught a dagger. A bullet was coming at him, and he staved it off. The other part of this, and let's flip the sides of this thing, because what you're saying about if a defensive lineman doesn't get home, it's criticized. I remember what Jeffrey Simmons told us in the locker room, Kayla, last week. He said, we just want to affect his play. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, if we have a bunch of hits and pressures and we affect him and match hands and make it disruptive and uncomfortable, we don't have a single quarterback sack and we have a win, that's a win. I don't care. And that's kind of how it played out. They had 3 quarterback sacks in this, which was good. They had one from Arden Key, and then he and Danico shared one. But they really affected his game, knowing that the calf is a part of it and that he couldn't extend plays like he normally has burned them before. Now, this week, that's a different proposition.
Right.
Anthony Richardson, they have not seen a quarterback like that all year, 100% guaranteed. I'm not a comp guy. I don't like to do player comparisons when we're talking about draft stuff, but I will say this. In terms of his size, frame, and athletic ability, Anthony Richardson reminds me of a Cam Newton in terms of just a big load that can move and make you pay by extending plays with his body. That is what he brings to the table in Indianapolis this week.
We'll dive into Titans and Colts with Rhett, Bryan, more coming up next. We'll also look at another positive stat for Derrick Henry and his history against his sons in Royal Blue up in Indianapolis. That's next with Rhett, Bryan right here on RKW.
It's Ramon and Kayla here for our friends at Window Nation. And fall is the best time of the year. I think most of us believe that in this room. But there is so much to love about fall, especially the return of Window Nation's best offer of the year, where you get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy, plus put no money down, make no payments, and pay no interest for 2 years. If your old windows are hard to open and close or drafty and leaky, now is the time to call Window Nation. So take care of that before it actually gets really cold outside.
And guess what? We're going to feel a little of that cooler weather this weekend. So now is the time, if any time, to get those new windows. Like Ramon said, weather changing, the air is cooler. And the biggest question, do your windows open properly? If they don't, guess what? You probably need new windows from Window Nation. You can save up to 30% on those energy bills, because when you're cranking the heat up in the wintertime, it's actually not going to go out the window. You're going to save on those energy bills. They have installed more than 2 million windows, 96% perfection rate. You really cannot beat that. And the average installer, they have tons of experience, 16 years to be exact, over 20,000 windows installed. So do not wait to do this. Do it now before the weather gets really cold and you put it off even more. Go call our friends at Window Nation, 866-90NATION, or simply log online to windownation.com.
It's RKW brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone. Rhett, Bryan in studio with us. Rhett, what are we listening to right now?
The late, great Freddie Mercury and Queen. And the reason I'm thinking about this, I remember being a teenager in the summer of 1985. There was a concert called Live Aid that Bob Geldof put together for the African famine. And it was held in multiple venues in the States and in England. And these guys played this song live at Wembley Stadium. And I remember just being mesmerized by their whole set. In fact, that is what was recreated by, what's the guy that played him in Bohemian Rhapsody?
Goodness sakes.
I love him. Great actor. Yeah.
I don't even want to look.
Rami Malek.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He's great.
They just recreated that entire set for Live Aid. They played 3-4 songs.
That's crazy.
But I remember seeing that live going, man, this is amazing. This is amazing. That is one of my biggest regrets. I think I've told y'all this before, but so working in this field, it affords you some really cool things and you miss some things because you have to work. Yeah. And I had an opportunity to go see them. This is probably 6 months, maybe a year before Freddie passed at the Pyramid in Memphis. And I was not able to go because I had to work. I really regret that because they were amazing.
Wow, Rhett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man.
Yeah, man. London next week.
No, that ticks me off.
Sorry, I brought it down. I brought everything down. I'm talking about death and talking about him not being there. And I don't know, anyway.
But yeah, London next week, baby.
Big show next week, ain't it? Over there. Across the pond.
Bob's your uncle.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
You're going to be at the Admiralty.
Excited.
Trafalgar Square, just off of the old Piccadilly Circus.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have no idea what to expect.
It's going to be awesome.
It's cool. It's
a hopping place. Where y'all going to be? I don't know about the pub itself, but with the location, I'm like, yeah, going to be hopping.
So cool.
I thought about getting a ticket to a Football League One game, which would be the equivalent of AA baseball, just to see Football League match between Wimbledon and Bradford City.
What I want to see, if there's any opportunity, is when Brad Willis and Philip Noel and I go to set up equipment in the home radio booth, because it is a home. We are the home team.
Yep.
I want to see the whole operation of all of the pitches that are stored underneath the stadium and come out robotically by mechanical means. Someone operating. They like 7 or 8 pitches, I believe, is what is involved in this,
serious?
plus the NFL field. Oh, this thing is the real deal, Kayla. It's the only one made for football in the world and North American football.
Them and now the Santiago Bernabeu in Madrid is just did the exact same thing.
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
Yeah, right?
The Bernabeu for Real Madrid, Los Blancos over there, just did the exact same thing. Theirs fit for basketball also, which is crazy.
Wow.
That is insane.
They just did the hydraulic
They're
thing.
over there running the damn triangle offense, man.
What?
Where's Ron? Ron can run up in there.
Yeah, 100%.
He knows all of that.
Head coach is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's
But yes,
incredible.
Tottenham is a brand new stadium, and
Tottenham Hotspur.
that will be where Buffalo and the London Jags play this weekend as well.
That's correct, because the Jags have stayed there for this week because they just played at Wembley, and so they're giving it a test run for future things.
Tottenham Liverpool last weekend was there. I mean, it's y'all will be amazed too. Just I act like I've been there, but like I watch games at that stadium every weekend, just watching the Premier League, and it is like it's slanted. The seats are in a way that's like an American college football stadium. Like it's the grade of it is very steep, where it's almost like Neyland in the way that like you're right on top of the field.
Yeah, you hug the field basically.
Right. Like no one has a bad seat in that
I've
place.
seen pictures from what will be our radio booth. And we're high up like we would be in Indy or Houston.
Sure.
But the vantage points, I mean, field of view is great.
Right.
It looks fantastic.
That's awesome.
So,
well, you guys will be up in the clouds this weekend again for Titans and Colts. And
first class up in the sky.
The last 4 times you have been in the clouds, you've seen a win for the Titans in Indy.
Hey.
How significant is that? I know we speak about it a lot, and
It's huge.
You guys, jab me for loving to jab the Colts, which
No.
I will always
I'm here
embrace.
for the violence. I'm joining you in the street
Absolutely.
fight. I brought a trident. I'm going to have to disappear.
From the days of the RCA Dome to Lucas Oil Stadium,
Oh.
if you had told me 10 years ago that the Titans would win 4 straight with a chance to win a 5th straight,
You
in
would call
Indy,
this person a liar.
I would call you crazy.
Yeah, sure. And that's why it's so special, because it went through all the Peyton Manning years, and then they had a terrible year with everything that happened with his neck, and he had to sit down from the game for a minute, and so they end up getting the first pick, and here's Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck never lost to the Titans, home or away. So yeah, it's big time, and the challenge remains the same. Neither of those quarterbacks are going to be there, but Anthony Richardson will be. He's got a lot of help around him, a lot of talent around him to make this thing difficult.
He does.
In 6 of his last 7 games against the Colts, Rhett, Derrick Henry has run for triple digits. 6 in a row if you take out the Halloween game on a bad foot in
Or he
2021.
played a half.
Right.
Yeah.
In his career against the Colts, 1,287 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5.1 yards per carry.
Like all of that, those are Jim Brown style numbers.
Yes, they
especially
are.
the yards per carry.
It feels like warming up Derrick to become Derrick again, like the Titans did against the Bengals this past weekend. Comes at a really good time now where you can go on a run, no pun intended, and piece together a couple weeks against a team that he's had a ton of success against.
And, it couldn't come at a more opportune time based on the way that you set that up there, because, you're going to be missing Traylon Burks for a minute. And you have DeAndre Hopkins, and now Josh Wiley's getting involved. And you still have NWI, which, hey, NWI haters, I don't know why you're there, but the guy is Johnny on the spot.
He is.
And what a better time to just keep the train rolling. I mean, God, I'd love to see him run for 2 bills, a couple scores. That'd be good.
Seriously.
'Cause if he's running for 2 bills, it probably means that Anthony Richardson-led offense is probably not on the field very much.
It's a little light at that point right there, right?
And that was what was so big about last week's game against the Bengals is you established a lead at halftime, and then you had an almost 11-minute drive to begin the third quarter, and you tacked on another 3. You basically ate up another quarter and then played keep away the rest of the game, and bye-bye. Toodaloo.
On Sunday, I remember looking back at the game when they kicked the field goal, not a touchdown at the end of that series. And I was just thinking,
Correct.
they had the ball this entire time?
10 minutes and 22 seconds.
You forgot they didn't punt.
I didn't, because we were like, okay, let's see how many breaks we're going to be able to slam in here, because that's the thing is we'd already used some, but, yeah, you get to a point where, like, we're going to have to hop around. And that's the thing that behind the scenes that people don't see is I'm like, we have to jump to a certain break number that is the end of the third quarter, which is where Lucas Panzica does the scoreboard.
Yes.
And so whenever we've reached the end, and if you're still haven't used all your breaks in that quarter, you've got to hop back after you've done the end. Anyway, there's a lot of moving around. So believe me, I'm like, man, golly, when are they going to take a break here?
Yeah, no, it was serious. That was great. I don't remember seeing them do that in a very long time as far as controlling the pace of the game for that long, right? Big step was taken, and being able to show that they're capable of doing it.
And I think the point that Mike Keith brought up in postgame is valid. Is this what we're looking at, or was it more like the week before? Is it somewhere in between? And that the opportunity is to build and to stack.
And that's what I was going to ask you, Rhett, because it's just with every team, I feel like this year in the NFL, it's been kind of up and down for a lot of them. There's a few that have been consistent. But is this the time you really have to start to find that consistency opening up in the AFC South in terms of this weekend?
Absolutely. And 2 things to your point. One, we've talked about it all off season and in the first couple of weeks of the regular season. You're starting to see what teams really are now that everybody's got 4 games under the belt, because when they changed the collective bargaining agreement in 2011 and the players and the association bargained for less padded practices, less time in the building, those things, you get a little sloppy football that first month of things. So you've seen some outlier games. You see some people come back to center that were high and maybe they were low. And anyway, to your point, yeah, because look at the AFC South right now. Technically, everyone's in first place and everyone's in last place at the same time. Everybody's 500, 2-2. And I think this is where you can start to separate the men from the boys, so to speak. But it's this way in a lot of divisions right
Yeah.
now. There's been a lot of up and down play in the first month, but I think now is where you're going to start to see players, coaches, and teams settle in. I mean, look at the trade that was made this morning. So Christian Gonzalez, the top draft pick of the Patriots, who had played well, has a shoulder injury. Looks like he's going to be out the rest of the year. So they trade for their guy, J.C. Jackson, who they let go in free agency and who has had a rough time of it with the Chargers. They need help there. So as injuries start to play a part of this, bounces of the ball, scheduling, all of those things come into play as the variables. Yeah, we're going to see what happens. And look, if the Titans can stack an AFC South win Sunday going into the London week to see Baltimore, that's in a much better spot than you would have thought almost 2 weeks ago after the Cleveland loss.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that always something the organization didn't like when there were ties and early in the season they would simply rank division standings in alphabetical order at this point, or am I making that up? I feel like that was a conversation
I think that
at
was
some
a
point
thing. Yeah,
of
I
like
think that was a thing.
Mr. Adams or just specifically the organization's like, oh, well, of course, we're the last of the alphabet. That's why we're technically fourth right now, literally.
Yeah. No, I think that was a thing at one point. But it's a log jam, and you got to get yourself out of it. And if you can play well on Sunday, you can – I mean, it's a double whammy. You get an AFC win and you get an AFC South division win. It counts twice.
Right.
So you can really start to make some hay there. And then knowing that the defensive strategy against your opposing offense is much the same the next week, because that's going to – the cage rushing part of this is what's going to be required to stop Lamar Jackson, which they have done before. And I feel like it's the same with Anthony Richardson, who's just a bigger version of Lamar Jackson. And maybe he's not as fast, but he can move for a big dude.
It's a bit of a gauntlet the teams that the Titans are facing the last few weeks and actually moving into the bye too. But everything's almost the same, as you said, though, right? Like watching Anthony Richardson, what you're getting is the immaturity of him. And I think that's unique, being able to rush against a guy and not know what his predictability is, as opposed to going into the week after that in London against Lamar. Lamar knows strategically what he's getting himself into, and that's where I think the growth of this team from last weekend. And I also say this, the controlling of emotions. I don't think we talk about that enough.
Yeah.
I know Big Jeff and Joe Mixon both got the unsportsmanlike, but there was a couple things that happened early in the game, and that game could have went real funny based on the guys that been here playing against this team, on how disrespectful it's kind of been. But you stayed cool. You stayed mature, and you came out and just simply dominated a team that's got the highest paid player in the history of the game to 3 points and no touchdown.
It's an emotional, violent sport to which you can speak better than anybody in this room because you did it. But you're right. Seemed like that referee crew, and Mike always sets it up every week as they start play-by-play. They average 17 calls a game.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, boy, you're going to need one of those afternoons. But Big Jeff plays with such a passion, and it is an emotional, violent sport. I feel like there's instances where Mike Vrabel is having to talk to him, hey, big fella, listen. And it seems like about once every 2 games, maybe it's once a game. Listen, dial it down just a hair here. And Mike Vrabel even said it on the Mike Vrabel show Monday night when Mike was talking to him, asking some questions about that particular thing. He goes, yeah, he said, and he took a shot at Joe Mixon. It was so great. He said, we need Jeffrey Simmons a whole lot more than they need Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he ain't wrong.
Love that.
But yeah, you have to keep that stuff dialed in. It's easy for me to sit there and say, well, just channel that anger into your play and knock the guy off his spot and do it. Yeah, easier said than done.
It is.
And it was nice on Sunday, if you were listening to Titans radio in the stadium, like the Bowling family was, you knew that that crew called more pass interferences than anybody else in the league. Mm-hmm. When Roger McCreary got called for what I think is probably the worst pass interference call I've ever seen in my entire life.
Egregious with a capital E.
Giving gifts, man.
I mean, genuinely, I don't think I've, other than maybe the missed PI call when Squirrel White was manhandled and still caught a pass over the South Carolina defender.
Saw that one too.
Oh my God.
Some
not good.
That's what I was looking for.
Over the weekend. Rhett, Bryan with us here in studio. Rhett, the matchup between Jeffrey Simmons and Quentin Nelson, always a very entertaining one. But there is something about Danico Autry playing against the Colts.
It's so good.
It's
Danico's got 3.5 quarterback sacks. He might double that after Sunday.
Yeah.
I sure hope he does.
And he's got a ton of pressures too this year.
Oh my gosh! But you're right. Playing against his old team, like it's the same thing. I can't wait to see what Arden Key does against Jacksonville. Because I'm like, man, it's not like they need any extra juice or extra energy in the bucket, but man, there's a fire there. It's like, ooh, I don't know, marshmallows over here.
Two times, man. Absolutely.
But aside from those interior guys against Quentin Nelson, what is the other one-on-one matchup that you are most interested in this game?
It's a great question. Honestly, I don't know what else would be on the O-line versus the D-line. There's several things I'm looking for, but I want to see that group cage rush and make Anthony Richardson uncomfortable. And here's the other thing. Whether Jonathan Taylor plays or not, Zach Moss, 4.2 yards a carry himself. He's very serviceable, very good. And Anthony Richardson and company have 3 receivers out of their top 4 that have double-digit catches already. I'm going to tell you the battle that I think is so super important, and it's one of the places, thank goodness, the Titans have been good at all season long, and that's special teams. Need more of Ryan Stonehouse averaging almost 52 yards a punt gross, flipping the field, and you need Nick Folk doing what he's done, which has been absolutely perfect, because their kicker, Matt Gay, 5 of 5 from 50-plus for field goal attempts. So field position, critical as it always is, and this is going to be a huge one between those two phases.
In an indoor stadium that you have more controlled environments to kick in. I would imagine
Jim Irsay will tweet, the doors are open. We're open for business. Or whatever he does every week. It's like, okay, buddy, calm down.
They were 2 years ago, and most of the Titans receivers were also open the entire game, too.
Oh, there it is.
So I would imagine hopefully both of those things are true again.
I do want to see Shaq Leonard. Injury plague last year, how he's going to play in this game too. And Kwity Paye is another guy. And watching the adjustment of Andre Dillard versus big bruisers outside, like Myles Garrett and Hendrickson, to an actual speed guy this week too.
It's funny you bring those guys up because Shaq Leonard, I don't think that they know exactly where he is yet because he's been unhealthy for most of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You mentioned Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye is in concussion protocol. He has 3 of the team's 9 quarterback sacks. Be interesting to see what happens in that first released injury report this afternoon at 3 o'clock from both teams, but especially on that front because under the concussion protocol, we've seen it with Amani Hooker. You have to have 2 consecutive days of practice before you make that final clearance. So that's one to watch. And listen, Grover Stewart and those guys, but Zaire Franklin leads the NFL in tackles, 57 already. The dude is everywhere.
Wow.
He is Rhett Bryan. You'll hear him from the clouds on Sunday in Indianapolis.
8 stories high.
Go for their 5th straight win up there in that barn. Rhett, thank you.
Thank you all. Have a lovely rest of your week, and let's tighten up.
Coming up, a story that is crazy, guys. Stop the presses. I agree with Travis Kelce on something. And Inky Johnson for Midweek Motivation coming up to wrap up the show.
It's football season, and it's time to switch to Zen Sports. I've been telling you guys this, man, but they're the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee and changing the betting bonus game with their cash rewards program. Like when you sign up for Zen Sports with the referral code, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for the first 15 days of betting. 5%. Think about that for a second. It's pretty insane, okay? And Zen Sports also offers an incredibly easy-to-navigate mobile app, too. So you can find the bets you want to make on the games you want to bet on, and they guarantee you won't find an easier way to build your parlays. So what are you waiting for? Stop wasting your time and money on other sports books when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Go ahead and download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Your wallet will thank you later. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. And you must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
Wrapping up the show on RKW, brewed by 8th and Rose right here on 104.5 The Zone. Good stuff with Rhett, Bryan of Titans Radio. If you missed it, check out the podcast in minutes for every hour of every show. Nate Washington, appreciate him stopping by as well, was great. Tomorrow morning, we've got Coach Mack. We've got Q&Ks from the Titans locker room. And you, when you join us, call in 615-737-1045. Guys, the Kelsey family agrees with a lot of our opinions on the Taylor Swift stuff, that media is going over the top with it. It's time to cool off.
It is.
Just a little bit. On their New Heights podcast, Travis says, I think it's fun when they show who all is at the game. I think it brings a little bit more to the atmosphere, brings more to what you're watching. But at the same time, and Jason Kelsey, his brother, Eagles center, goes, they're overdoing it. And Travis says, they're overdoing it a little bit for sure, especially my situation. I think they're just trying to have fun with it. The open for Sunday Night Football the other night was way over the top.
Thank you. I agree.
Way over the top.
Carson, what was it?
Carson Daly of The
doing
Voice.
that was not needed.
At this point, Sunday Night Football dunks on the TV ratings of everyone else in football already. Why do they need to dunk even more? Like, you don't got to go between the legs. You're already dunking. Don't do the 360. Like, it was the most watched Sunday Night Football game in a while. Like, whatever it is. But, like, guys, come on.
When you king of the hill, well, you got to let everybody know, baby.
Like,
That's
I think
all.
it's funny to a point, but we've reached that point.
Okay.
Next, the Chiefs travel to Minnesota. I have a hard time believing Taylor Swift is going to make a trip to Minneapolis.
We should do bets on that.
I'm taking that bet. Well, she can't go to Minneapolis.
She starts her tour again soon.
Yeah, so I wonder how much time she'll want between. But then again, they're in the lovebird stage.
And maybe I'm reading too much into this.
I don't know. It seems like it.
But she was not wearing Chiefs gear at the Giants game when all her friends were around. When she was in Kansas City, she was wearing all Chiefs gear, excited beside Mama Kelsey, but she gets to New York around all her friends. She's too cool to wear Travis's jersey now. She got Deadpool and Wolverine beside her. Oh, the X-Men go pop out on Kelsey. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but she seems like a terrible girlfriend.
I don't think she wore the jersey, though. She didn't wear the jersey for the Bears game. She just had like a red jacket.
Oh, semantics.
Yeah,
semantics.
You know what she was wearing, though?
What?
Her signature red lips. She
Is
doesn't
that
even
her
have
thing?
to try with that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that was her thing.
Yeah,
too.
not a lot of women can pull that off.
I'm very novice when it comes down to Taylor Swift, like facts and stuff. Like, I know of the catchy public, like very known songs, but I couldn't tell you much about her at all. And that's probably bad on my end. I shouldn't say that out loud, probably.
That's okay.
The Swifties come at me. I don't want that problem.
That is
though.
a very strong fan base.
Certainly is. Certainly is. My girlfriend will probably come at you, too, if you say anything too negative, so just be careful.
You willing to defend her honor?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. That's all I need to know. That's all I needed to know. Make sure my dog is ready to squabble if he
That's
needs
right.
to.
Oh, goodness.
Goodness sakes. Coming up, we'll have Inky Johnson for a little bit of midweek motivation here in just a moment. Get initial Titans injury news today. Interested to see Traylon Burke's status after he was unavailable over the weekend.
Me too, man. That Antier Tart kind of came out of the game. I'm not sure if it's knee or ankle or something going on with him. I need Big Dog to get right, man. This is the week to get right and actually show your dominance in games. You're going to need it this week for sure.
That's fair.
Yeah. Him and Danico, both.
Danico's just
also.
a dog.
Yeah, he
Man's
is.
a dog.
But this is a week he needs to be ready and going on turf. Well, heck, they've been playing on turf every week.
Pretty
except
much.
for Cleveland. Yeah,
I know the turf up there isn't as innovative as the one down here, but
they are replacing it soon, too.
Okay, you did find out about that.
Yep, they are replacing it soon. It won't be till next year, but they are going to replace.
Okay.
I think next year they have some summer trials for swimming.
yes.
For the Olympics next
Yep.
week in Indy, or next year in Indy. They will have some trials there.
In
Yeah.
Lucas Oil?
Just what I saw.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I saw, Will. Sure did.
Olympics are next year again.
They host so many big events there in Indy because I just feel like you can get around so well, right? Everything's right down there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. As I was trying to.
Yeah, I believe you.
You saw it?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, that's just surprising.
Yeah, they're having summer trials or something like this, so they're gonna have to replace the turf.
Nice.
Very fascinating. Yeah.
We go to the phones now to end our Wednesday morning show like we always do. Our guy, Inky Johnson, is on the line with us, providing a little bit of midweek motivation. What's up, Inky?
What's going on, guys? How are you all?
Good. Ink.
Man, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be on. I want to start us off with a quote. It says, perspective drives performance. How we view what we do will always affect and impact how we do what we do. I usually ask guys one question when I go into, organizations, go into rooms with sports, go into educational spaces. Always ask, can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Because oftentimes when the result or the outcome changes, it dictates what we bring to environments, what we bring to people, what we bring to our goals, our dreams, and our aspirations. And so I'll never forget watching the movie Troy. And in Troy, one of the warriors, his name was Achilles, right? He was a phenomenal warrior, right? And they were fighting for territory. And Achilles, right, he wasn't the biggest guy. He wasn't the strongest guy. He wasn't this imposing figure, right? He was just a normal-looking guy, but nobody could really defeat him. And so one of his guys came to get him for a battle. And when he came to get Achilles to take him to the battle, Achilles was just chilling, right? He was going about his business. He was kind of getting dressed, right? He wasn't too high. He wasn't too low. But the guy that they were coming to get Achilles to go against, he was a big guy, like he was strong. And so the guy, his teammate, was saying to Achilles, man, like, why don't you ever back down, right? Why don't you ever retreat when there's a battle, right? Like, why don't you ever stop? Why don't you ever second guess yourself, right? This guy that you're about to go against, you've never went up against anybody like this. You've never been against anybody this strong, this big, right? You've never been against a figure like this. You never faced any opposition like you're probably about to face. And Achilles said something to him that was phenomenal. He looked at his teammate and said, that's why they'll never remember your name. He said, because your greatness is predicated upon what you're up against. He said, if you're up against something that you think you can defeat, you can beat, you can be victorious, you're going to come out and you're going to be great, right? If you're up against something to where you think you can be successful, you're going to bring everything you got to it. For most people, that's how we react, right? When we got goals, dreams, aspirations, when things play in our favor, we bring everything we got to it. But the true character of a person is tested in moments of opposition, in moments of change, in moments of uncertainty. And so let's never be the people that the things that we bring into an environment and the things that we bring to people is solely based and dictated by the results or the outcome, right? I want to bring you a level of assurance, right? There's a blessing for you that's not predicated upon the results and upon the outcome. Bring everything you got to it because that's who you are. That's my time. Blessings. Thank you.
It's Ramon Foster.